Welcome. How's everybody doing?
Hey, doing great. How is everybody?
All thumbs up? All
Thumbs up.
signals green?
Pretty good.
Well, welcome. This is the second of our three streamed Narm games we put together this summer to show off some of what's going on with Stillfleet and our West Marches campaign to explore the ultrastructure Narm. So this is a campaign lots of folks are building together, dropping in and out of. So we really appreciate you all making time. We play Sundays, afternoon here in the East Coast. Today we have an all non-East Coast crew. I believe you're all in the UK. Is that right?
Somehow it's turned out that way, weirdly.
Incredible.
Very fun. Well, thanks, and we'll do quick, personal intros, character intros. At some point, let me first just reintroduce the setting. So if someone is watching this on YouTube, they know what they're looking at. Stillfleet's set in the far future, and today our voidminers are sort of basically Space Marine-esque workers for the evil, worshipful company of Stillfleeters. We'll be exploring the ultrastructure Narm, which is the hellstraw, a straw of black stone that is light years long. The company has discovered a stiffworks, a portal, at one end, and has then proceeded to sort of move deeper down the structure. It's filled with hulks, the dead spaceships, and wraiths, living ancient spaceships from the last great human civilization, the late Tefnian hegemony, which 5,000 years ago dominated not only Earth, but the solar system and many, many other habitable systems. And today the company basically seeks out late Tefnian ruins and remains. The structure itself is definitely not late Tefnian. It precedes by billions of years, perhaps, Earth's great civilizations. And it may be linked to other civilizations that the company has encountered. Your characters so far have found more mysteries than they've resolved, I think it's fair to say. Today, you're going to be following up on a mystery for Senior Archivist Imago, the scientist who is technically the highest ranking officer on the station. She doesn't create all of the ventures, but in this case, you were following up on one that your group has already participated in. I believe Zeke did directly participate in, which is going to be codenamed Operation Bigger Upper Fish, after the ancient Terran legend of a fish that could make itself look more frightening than it was by becoming kind of bigger, upper, blowing itself up. Yeah. So this is sort of part two of that. And before that, I guess maybe we can introduce our GMs and our players, and then we'll kind of zoom in on who's in the room. So Jesse, Ryan, can you introduce yourselves? These will be the other game Grim Venture managers, we say, the other GMs for today's venture.
Hi, I'm Jesse.
Hi, Jesse. Hi, I'm Ryan.
You've met. I know you've met.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, then we will zoom in on our characters. So maybe the three players today can introduce yourselves and who you were playing. Who is your void miner? And you were all in the laboratory module of the Go Down, which is the company's space station on one end of Narm. So it is not necessarily the smallest module, but it's cramped. It's full of sort of white bend, so sort of future bioplastic white bend tabling and shelves that are all sort of retractable. They're all meant to swing out and lock into place momentarily and do some work and be put back. And there's lots of cheap, archivally made bend, sort of grayish white, basically plastic devices. So different centrifuges spinning, things like that. That Imago's always got sort of experiments, and they're almost all either ways to try to hack into wraiths and hulks or mess with weird biological samples you've brought back. So picture your favorite from previous games, and you tell us. So who do we have today? Because I believe, Harry, you're not playing your usual void miner, so I'm curious. I think it's a surprise for all of us. If you want to go first.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm playing someone who believes himself to be Walt Disney, reanimated as a sleeper blooder. He is definitely not, but he has this delusion as part of the kind of will D for insanity. He is, of this delusion. He's a blooder.
Great. So someone maybe from ancient times who was in cryosleep, but now you're just like, no, I'm Walt Disney. I'm the famous animator. Great.
Yeah, so any actual biological checks would show that they were frozen actually kind of in the late Tefnian period, but their brain is so rotted and corrupted that they believe themselves to be the reanimated body of Walt Disney. There's definitely no plausible way in which they would be.
Love the specificity.
Uh-huh.
And Walt? Your character's name, obviously, then is Walt. We're calling you Walt.
Yes, he insists on being called Walt.
Excellent. Who is with Walt in the laboratory module?
Johnny, do you want to go ahead?
I think it's safest if you go first.
Okay. My name is Jennifer. I'm playing Ezekiel. She's a fleeter banshee. She's dressed in her enviro with like a leather jacket, like 80s bomber jacket, and aviators on. And she kind of looks like a cross between like Starbuck from the rebooted Battlestar Galactica, Gideon Nav from the Locked Tomb series, and Maverick from Top Gun, if you just mash them together into like kind of like a butch like woman with short hair, and just trying to seem cool while actually just being very excited about and interested in everything. I think she's brought along her headless rat named Horatio because he's been having a bit of malfunction, and brought him along to Imago to kind of maybe do some like tune-ups or something, and is kind of watching what Imago's doing as she's messing with him.
Oh, so the sunglasses are costume then?
Yeah.
Like, this is character cosplay happening.
Absolutely.
I see. Perfect. So standing around and possibly partly through some of the other two is a hrine. And if people are unfamiliar, you haven't read far enough in the Stillfleet core rulebook. The hrine are a set of elephantine legs that only manifest that way in three-dimensional space. The rest of the hrine is in the Escheresk somewhere, and floating sort of around alongside these three legs is this sort of strange bowling ball sized structure with various striations of color and light flickering across it. It refers to this exclusively as its shadow. They are known as 5 intersecting circles, and they have been mostly laughing at most of the stuff that's around them. They find it all just oddly amusing that everyone is so seriously engaged with the research work that's being done here, but they are trying their best to maintain appearances. And by appearances, I mean stay in three-dimensional space.
Right. And so this Ryan, has to sort of remember to like orient themselves in a way that the three spacers can see them as an alien sort of set of legs, whereas otherwise they see themselves as kind of geometric swirl of information or something. We don't know exactly. You can tell us, Johnny. But if they kind of concentrate, it's like, oh, you're right. In your dimension, this is what I look like.
We are simply a rough facet of the manifold.
Exactly. And what are we calling, Johnny, this facet? What is this facet's handle?
This facet is called 5 intersecting circles.
Perfect. Okay. So Walt Disney, 5 intersecting circles, and cool Ezekiel. You've all been selected by Senior Archivist Imago to report today. So you're all part of the meta venture. You've all been read in classified meta venture Narm. Walt Disney is new. Also, 5 intersecting circles new. Ezekiel, you've been out a couple times, and for whatever reason, you have a bit of a rapport with Imago. So she has handpicked the three of you. This is usually a lie that your bosses say to make you feel good, but in this case, it is quite true. You've been asked to help just figure out what's going on with Operation Bigger Upper Fish. This was a successful operation. However, there's been a turn. So first, I will recap. Your characters already know about the previous Operation Bigger Upper Fish, but I'll recap for the audience that previous venture, which was recent, here in reality. And then I will go into scene, and we'll have our little briefing session. So Operation Bigger Upper Fish is very simple. There are too many damn late Tefnian Hulks, and you have awakened too many. So many of them are now wraiths. They're awake after a 5,000-year torpor, awaiting commands from either the Gray Pyramid or the Red Pyramid, the last two great political meta-factions of humanity, who basically annihilated themselves and, insert whatever you want, nuclear hellfire, railguns, singularity weapons, at the end of their civilization. And now they're awake, and they're forming new factions. They're doing stuff. And their company suddenly realized that instead of basically being floating dungeons full of treasure, to use a metaphor, they are an extremely dangerous, intelligent army of living war machines that could just decide humans are pesky and should be annihilated. After all, humans caused them a lot of grief. Also, just humans didn't pick up the phone for 5,000 years. So they have various opinions. Some are nice, some are evil. I mean, they're kind of like weird machine people. Some have been befriended by the voidminers. Others seem pretty dangerous. A couple of them have been blown up, which is the reason why now they're all sort of awakening and forming factions. In order to avoid a war among the wraiths, Imago developed basically what we would call here in 2025 plus 0 million years in the future a television script. She basically had a scenario where they will convince the most advanced of the ships to fake a signal that there is an ultra wraith that is hellbent on maintaining peace and avoiding war among the wraiths, and sort of the I think Cyrus from the Warriors kind of vibe. Like, we need all the wraiths to get along. And this plan, however nonsensical, was something that worked, basically. The voidminers went out and convinced the most advanced, very late Tefnian ship called Liquid Door, this kind of crystalline frigate that is a kind of floating skyscraper-sized door through all of time and space that has been just in contemplation, visiting other mirror universes, possibly talking to cats, who knows, for 5,000 years. They convinced it, they charmed it to basically deceive all of the other wraiths. And it disappeared from reality. It disappeared from 3-space, signal lost. Imago has not been sure what's happened, but there has been no war among the wraiths. You all have gone out on a couple other ventures. Generally seems like things are working. Then, just today in sort of Narm standard, Terrasol standard clock, always running 24-hour cycle, whatever, today-ish, there's a signal that has been broadcast, more or less according to her script that you all convinced Liquidor to use, claiming that Anazumaat, Behemoth Father, the greatest wraith ever constructed by the Tefnians, is just outside of Narm, has reappeared after being cloaked, and is threatening, again, to sort of discipline anyone who breaks the peace. So that all makes sense. So she can read you that. I mean, she has like a printout on her algal, little printer paper, this kind of dot matrix, light green. However, something else has happened as well, which is she has discovered a secret code embedded in her own files that is a coordinate for deep near the Beyond Ring, so light years down Narm, and actually on the exterior of Narm, which seems featureless. The company's microdrones have gone pretty far and have never seen, basically they've sent out satellites and they've never seen anything on the outside. That's right, Kat. So they now are seeing a signal that is just there. So that is, she very quickly summarizes that. Says she's handpicked you all for reasons to go. So she has just entered. She's just told you this. She's a middle-aged woman with short curly hair. She has the face markings of someone who's born into the directorate. She's a senior archivist. She always wears a sort of dull brown like jumpsuit, and she's usually just working on something. She's very technical and really focused on the health of the ship and seemingly on a series of biological experiments that involve taking the heads off of Terran animals and putting useful tools in place. Ezekiel's been the beneficiary of one of these experiments. Okay, y'all, so let's not waste any more time. Do you want me to read the first message, the non-encrypted, non-secret one that went out to every single... It just was transmitted along many, many ways that I can explain, but I don't need to for these purposes, across Narm space.
Yep.
It's just kind of fun. Okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay, I, Behemoth Father, do declare solemnly that Narm space is now free of politics, and that all will be violating such forth. Honestly, it's pretty boring. It sort of just states a new constitution for the race, that they can do other things other places, but not in Sol space or Narm space. So it's created two spaces of exclusion, and it is undersigned Anazumaat, which translates to Father of Behemoths, and says that anyone in violation will be destroyed. It seems pretty scary just because it then lists just a weapons catalog. And the weapons catalog includes It seems like it's making up stuff, but it includes all kinds of weapons, some of which seem to be basically time traveling. Like if you do something it doesn't like, you'll have already ceased to exist. I don't know if it can actually do that. I sort of doubt it, but I don't want to personally find out. Okay, so that was the message broadcast. At the exact same time, I received a ping. There had been an alteration in an old archive of mine regarding the drone reports about the composition of Narm. This is sort of the boring stuff, just checking that, I don't know, it just keeps going in one direction and it's still made of the same material. Didn't seem like we were getting a lot of information about the outside. And then suddenly I get this coordinate, and she basically gives you the coordinate. This is very far down Narm, and it's on the outside, not the inside, the exterior, which was we've never gone to. There's not been a reason. I don't know why this would be here, unless this is a signal from Liquidor and Azumat to come meet up. So I would like you to go there and meet up with it. Just confirm its current disposition, I guess, would be the venture's technical objective. Report back, obviously.
How are we going to get out there? Is there a Stiffworks along the way somewhere? I mean, I didn't think that it was possible to get outside.
There's two questions there. Stiffworks to the Beyond Ring and getting outside from inside, which, yes, technically impossible unless there's a hole. In this case, there's a hole. So the second part first is actually easier. There is what we are calling a phase point, or phase transition point, technically. We could just say phase point, between the interior and exterior. This has been observed. However, it is in the superimposed forests where, depending on the time you're in, it may or may not exist. It exists currently in the present of Narm, we've confirmed from the exterior. In the interior, if you happen to be in a wave of past temporality, it doesn't exist yet. So that's a problem. That's hence a phase point and not literally a structural breach. Or SB, but we could just call it structural breach for short. So we're going to call it a phase point instead of structural. You understand. Anyway, engineering. You have to make sure you go through it when it is extant and not inextant. That's actually the simpler of the two. The hard part is there is a Stiffworks to the Beyond Ring, but I think recently there was some sort of some data reported on that. And at this, I'm going to ask the other GMs to just fill in the current disposition of that Stiffworks and how you would get out all the way out there.
Right. So on a recent venture, Drum and Groan Renter, who is the refactor, works basically one rank below Imago and contracts a lot of these ventures, sent Zeke and some other voidminers out to the Stiffworks, which once connected to the Beyond Ring and is now connected to something else, which you explored in that recent game. And I think that Zeke made some inspection of that after the fact, which didn't exactly line up with Drum and Groan Renter's understanding of that Stiffworks. So with the puzzle left over in the archive by a Banshee who worked for the Narm desk, the company before the Tackquake, exploring Narm. Using that riddle, you could probably piece together, it might take some more time, how to tack that Stiffworks back to the Beyond Ring. And Zeke might be especially suited to that.
Awesome.
And I'd be interested in hearing if Zeke had other things they wanted to talk about because you've got two new recruits or new to you.
Yeah, so I understand that Stiffworks is currently tacked. Our last venture was out to the Lash that is nowhere near the Beyond Ring. But I understand that a group of voidminers was sent there previously. I tried to look up the paperwork, but I understand they met some people out there, but the records don't seem to be complete. Do you know anything else?
I think this is a question that Imago will answer to the best of her ability, but I don't know how much she knows. Ryan, Jesse, is there anything really she can add to the situation? I think she's, weirdly enough, she is like appealing to Zeke in this moment as the most sort of experienced, basically engineering minded void miner who has been out there and might be able to solve this puzzle and get a team to the phase point. She's pretty sure there's a hole in the side, but it is so far away. The company has really no way to get you there reliably without solving this riddle. And if you solve this riddle, you will be in the Beyond Ring. You will be in a section of Narm where physics as it exists throughout, homogeneously, isotropically throughout 3 space, breaks down inside of Narm, not on the outside, but inside, and where time and space are sort of, sometimes they're in one state, sometimes they're in a different state. So it is dangerous by dint of just that. And because that is the location that Liquid Door, formerly Liquid Door, now Behemoth Father, has specified, that is why she's contracted 5 intersecting circles, of course. And there was a new guy who claims to be famous for drawing a mouse. She didn't really understand the resume that came across her desk, but she thought, okay, this person is clearly insane and thus won't mind going on this mission. So basically you got kind of a dangerous rando who might be good at fighting, and someone who actually exists all the time in multiple dimensions, so may not freak out. But Zeke, it is kind of your job on this one to connect those dots. And Ryan, Jesse, please help help us get there.
Yeah. I think the other thing that might happen if you press Imago on, details of what's in the Beyond Ring is that she can pull out the reports filed about those ventures and tell you some, half remembered sort of details about who was met there, what they did. Broad strokes of that is that there was a pepper elf, how do you say? I lost the word. Still rider, who seems to have been living on the edge of the superimposed forests for the last 60 odd years. And that there was a woman who disappeared, ? I don't remember if anyone ever wrote her name down.
They did not. I've seen it on Discord, but Zeke doesn't know what it is.
Character thoughts, player thoughts. Always fun.
Always fun.
Okay, well, in that case, if you give me a bit of time and maybe some resources, I might be able to get us out there. Probably.
Resources, I will give you whatever I'm allowed to give you, which is more or less, and what would be useful. Anything on the go down is yours. We need to go check this out. Time, I'm not sure about the time, because if this were all going according to plan, I do not believe that a ship as advanced as Liquid Door, the latest, very late Tefnian ship we've ever identified, which you all have been to exactly twice, and your reports, to be completely honest, sound like you took a bunch of drugs and just made stuff up, but okay, here we are. I don't believe it would have somehow hacked into my personal logs in a very boring part that somehow it knew I would check more or less frequently and given me these very specific coordinates at the same exact time, down to the femtosecond, whatever, that it blasted the signal to everyone else. So I believe there is some urgency that it is indicating in a way that it is trying to not allow other signals to be intercepted by the other rates. Also, I should say, we're in a Faraday cage when we're in the lab, but also just don't write anything down, don't send any signals. Whatever you have to do, you have to also disguise that you're doing it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's actually, twice as hard, Ezekiel. You have to get them there, the legs and the rat guy. Mouse, rat, it doesn't matter. And you also have to do it in a way that the other wraiths don't detect you doing it. So anyway,
Cool.
Have fun. What do you need?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, sure, why not? Sounds like a good time. Just I'm not sure that this has really come up, but a reason to believe that, some of the people we've encountered in Narm might all be kind of part of the same crew. Have you? I don't suppose you've had any contact from anybody further into Narm recently, have you? Besides, the wraiths.
Further into Narm, if you're asking about the Unbokters,
I am, yeah.
Roll charm. So this will be we'll do our first roll. So Ezekiel's going to roll charm and try to get some sort of classified information about a previous venture, a group of voidminers, a high-level group that went out. This was a long time ago, and they all eventually disappeared. It was thought they went void mad. They went native, as it were, and they now live or presumably died in the hellstraw.
Can I just add?
Great, I want to burn on that. Yeah, go ahead.
It was a long time ago. It was at like basically the exact moment as the Tackquake. Is that correct?
Yeah, they were severed from Spindle and could not get back. It was thought they simply either they managed to live or they died, but they never reported back in.
Yeah, Zeke's all about making bad choices, so I'll burn 6 grit on that.
Oh wow, okay, great.
Oh no! I'm gonna roll in the box.
There's a box.
Oh, there's a box. That's a 5 plus 6 is 11.
That beats a 6. So if you had not burned grit, you would have failed. But with an 11, yes. She tells you whatever she knows. She thinks this is important enough, and she believes the unboxers are now more or less unimportant enough. She knows some of them might be alive based on the reports that have come in from your recent ventures, but she does not think it matters. So she basically tells you any details that we, the GMs, would have on whatever has been seen by any of the crews, whether you were on them or not. So I don't know, Ryan, Jesse, how helpful that is, but she would know that some of them are alive, right? Like some weird reports have come in, they match the descriptions. The Unboxers were a pretty famous group, so she knows like who these people were.
Yeah, definitely. Reports include that the Pepper F still rider is alive, and a Kielv, should the Pier, is alive. Rooster, the Banshee, is who left behind the puzzle, which allowed the group also to reach that Beyond Ring Stiffworks. Jesse, help me fill in.
You all there have also been reports submitted to submitted that some sort of ghost was on the go down. This seems to be fanciful, but indicates that there's another person that nobody really identified who is around, who seems to be a member of the Impactors.
So we're missing 2 then.
Yes, yeah, you know the size of the crew too.
Okay, all right. All right, boss, no problem. Listen, I'll have to go have a look at it and see what I can do, but I'll try to get us there as soon as possible.
Okay, we're counting on you. On the jump jungle, you know so 5 intersecting circles, Walt, you know that there's a module called the jump jungle. It is where there used to be a waypoint stiffwork setup. This is an archivally made. We've spent a lot of research on this. You can't tell anyone. Again, classified. You're read in. You're classified too late. It's a stiffworks that takes you to another stiffworks. There's sort of sticks you can set up and move them around. And the waypoint, you can move them around, basically. So the voidminers can go out, come back. Don't lose them. Very expensive. You'd be in a lot of trouble. There's a stiffworks in the jump jungle that is now set up to go to the Beyond Ring stiffworks, the permanent stiffworks found in the Beyond Ring. That's where Ezekiel will be taking you, right? Ezekiel, you will be successfully doing this. So whatever you need, if you need a wrench or late Tefnian comm, she holds up like her, it's sort of like a tough book type computer, but made of nanites. So I don't know what that would look like.
I don't suppose you have like a ray gun or something. That would be really helpful for attacking the stiffworks.
To fix a portal, you need a powerful weapon.
Really super important.
Well, you already rolled high on charm, so I'm going to say, I'm going to roll on a table of random random architect, and she'll give you something, but you're borrowing it, right? She's like loaning it to you.
Borrowing, yeah, of course. I'm super going to remember to give it back later.
Actually, could you roll, why don't you roll a D200? So if you roll 2D100, I guess. I'll say what
just casually roll a D200. It's fine.
Yeah, let me pull out my drawer of unusual dice, and I'll get back to you in a second. Johnny, you don't have your D100 It's close to hand, do you?
No, tragically, I don't know. I
that's
actually
too
I own a 100-sided die for a game of Morkborg that I ran for a while, and yeah, it's a beast. It rolls for so long.
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine a D200 is practically a perfect sphere. So yeah,
it would
yeah,
roll
there you go.
forever. I could also roll for you if you wanted. I was thinking you could just roll tens, like a 10-sided dice, a couple times.
I just rolled an 80 and a 9. Does that help?
89. That's perfect. Yes, we'll see
Okay.
what that is on this list. It'll surely be something. She gives you a 3-centimeter wide metal sphere.
Great.
Says there you go.
That's perfect. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Awesome.
I'm not sure that I don't. If you noticed, I don't do a lot of field operations anymore. I don't have a ray
What?
gun
Really?
handy on me, but this is a very powerful weapon. It is one-time use, but it is extremely powerful.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll not blow up the Stiffworks before we go through, but
No, yeah, don't do that one. Yeah.
yep, you got it. No problem.
Excuse me, madam. Talking to Amargo there.
Yes.
I would like to request something that I think would be much more useful than all this mumbo jumbo. Could you please furnish me with a team of... Sorry, I haven't used the throat in a few millennia. Please may I have a team of 60 artists, a gallon of India ink, and some fine sketching paper, and then without technology, we will have your report in a beautiful form within 3 years.
She sort of looks nonplussed. I think she looks at Zeke, and like there's no one else that, there's Zeke and there's some legs that are like glitched into the wall. So she's like looking at these like huge alien legs and looking at Zeke and looking back at Walt and is like, I'm not sure. I thought you've been hired to go out and explore a series of ancient spaceships. I don't think there's anything about whatever you just proposed. I don't see the relationship between the two.
I thought you wanted a report with minimal technology.
I think, Walt, the best case here is you follow Ezekiel and our friend Circles, and you just keep those thoughts inside, and then if they somehow come up later, maybe that can be discussed ex post Venturo.
Should I use this instead then? And then Cam Trap, I'll have to burn 4 grit for the bit, but I'm going to do it. And one of Walt's eyes pops out and just kind of starts irising directly like an inch away from one of Amargo's eyes. And it's sort of blinking red to show that it's recording.
She jumps back I wouldn't say in horror, but in like, her calm sort of military equivalent of true surprise. Like she's very rarely surprised by the sort of random actions of her subordinates, but this one is just so random. New plan. All right, well, you're in charge of setting up a new waypoint Stiffworks. These are very, very valuable resources. It takes a lot of energy to construct them for us, a lot of energon, but we're going to give you one, and we're going to say you're in charge of putting it at the phase point if the phase point seems not too dangerous. So there's a hole in a wall of a big thing. Put the sticks there so we can get back to it more easily. That's your job.
To make the magic door, yes.
Yes, to draw a magic door in the wall with these, and she like explains they're in the jump jungle, but basically you're gonna pick up these 2 like red poles, and then also just protect. If something happens to Zeke, just use the drawing part of you that kind of pointing at the cam trap, this like floating puddle of like blood that's formed this little camera google. To do that, to help out. Okay, so you'll be on your way then. And she, at this point...
Yep, we're going, and Zeke's gonna kind of like try to steer Walt out of the room as quickly as possible.
Excellent.
I think I saw some paper, like just down the hall. Like, let's go check it out.
What does 5 intersecting circles think of all this?
Before Zeke does that, you feel the shadow, the sort of orb that's been floating around 5 intersecting circles as legs, kind of near your head, and you hear a voice in your ear say, "I was going to do that too, but you couldn't see it."
Great.
Definitely, this is going to be fine, and it's going to go well, and we're going to come back alive. Don't worry, boss. We got this. It's all good.
Counting on you. Yeah, come back alive. Make sure bigger upper fish holds. That's the thing. As soon as you
Yep.
open the door, the Faraday cage is not going to be sealed. Anything you do could be observed by the wraiths. Not sure what the wraiths know about the go down or think of it, but hard to mask the energetic, signature of a little space station floating out there next to the Stiffworks. So, what is your plan for Ezekiel to fix that? Basically, the Stiffworks on the station side, the jump jungle, so it can take you to the Beyond Ring.
I'm just going to solve an impossible riddle and then retack an unretackable Stiffworks and take us to somewhere that nobody's ever been before. I don't see what the problem is.
Excellent.
Sounds
Excellent.
easy.
Another day at the office.
Yeah, maybe this is why Imago put you together. So 5 intersecting circles, you might see Stiffworks very differently. So instead of basically like a octagonal hole in the wall of like an octagonal hula hoop with just a bunch of metal wound around it, like kind of like a early, railgun Tesla coil type thing just stuck on the wall of this kind of white insulation, of a space station. Maybe you see it as some beautiful, geometrical series of tubes or whatever, some manifold that's taking you to another part of time and space. And it is currently broken or linked differently or etc. metaphor. But yeah, maybe the two of you together. I think ultimately, Zeke, you're going to have to roll reason, obviously. This is a reason check to fix the thing so it goes to the place using the riddle. I guess, Ryan, Jesse, Jennifer, do you want to say more about this riddle and what Zeke understands of it so far?
So the kind of the best I have is that as I understand it, the riddle has been sort of left behind as sort of as a puzzle, but also as a solvable, in theory, solvable puzzle to allow this Stiffworks to be tacked to, make that connection to the far end of Narm, and but it's been unsolved for a very, very long time. And I think Zeke has seen pieces of it before, like in the Banshee training, she would have come across part of it, but just had no interest at all in solving like an esoteric riddle set by one of her professors who was just like, "Oh, you'll never solve this," and she was like, "Yeah, you're right, I don't care." So that's kind of as close as she actually came to seeing it before, but now she has to care about it, so she's trying to remember everything that she wasn't paying attention to when she was just trying to like look, do the fun stuff in Banshee College, which was, I don't know, looking cool, I guess, trying to decide what her like handle was going to be, probably. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll explore more of that in the Stillfleet campaign that we're beginning every month on the second Friday in the Stillfleet Discord. As for the nitty gritty of what that looks like for Zeke, it's probably you got to get a chalkboard and a piece of chalk and work through some puzzles and really just
Maths.
sit down and do the maths.
Exactly. And so maybe this will be a couple things. We'll do some checks, but also if you're helping Johnny as 5 intersecting circles, maybe you can say how you're helping with this basically math puzzle that the humans have not, mostly humans and wetans largely, have not been able to solve for now. Really a whole generation of scientists working on this that has been this outstanding, like Fermat's last theorem, right? It's like this outstanding thing that has to be proven that you have to solve the puzzle in order to retack this Stiffworks.
I think Circles is occasionally just chipping in with, "Those two pieces smell the same to me," and just kind of like drawing into sort of sections of this equation and sort of nudging Zeke in the right direction every so often. And this one rhymes with that to me, and like all sorts of abstract, geometrical and poetic interpretations of what should just be like a straight up like mathematical solve for x kind of problem. There's a lot of outside the box thinking happening.
I like that outside the box of 3 dimensions that we experience.
Yes, yeah.
I think Zeke's feeling a little disoriented because every once in a while she'll see like the maths just sort of like one of those weird perspective shifts, kind of like a magic eye puzzle or something, just kind of like slide over each other a little bit. Maybe as one of Circles' like legs like passes through her while she's trying to think about something, and sort of like, oh, okay, all right, I saw those 2 overlap. What if we connected those together and used that variable here instead? That kind of thing.
We're helping.
So there's this kind of vibe of like you're trying to do the homework while your roommate is like playing like trash can basketball, and it's really like distracting, but they're trying to help you. Meanwhile, Walt, I think you've been given by so there's a, you know, Imago floats out with you. So there's pseudo-gravity. It's pretty weak. The station is spinning, but you more or less can sort of float, jump. And she's assigned a junior engineer named Gardamillions. Gardamillions is a gelasti, so sort of a pink, like a life-size gummy bear shaped like a salamander. So a single-celled organism of sort of pink cytoplasm with frilly sexual organs around her neck. And they have gone and fetched for you the Waypoint Stiffworks, which looks like 2 sort of flattened, almost like crutches or something. These almost unbreakable 3D printed red ceramic steel things. To you, they look like giant pencils or pens. And you've just been handed 2 of them and been told to sort of float quietly in a corner while some legs that glitch through the walls occasionally are talking to cool Ezekiel with sunglasses on. But I mean, again, to you, you've just been handed 2 giant pencils. So so Gardamillions is kind of watching through the open door of the jump jungle. Imago has left, so you have an audience of 1 as you try to solve the unsolvable riddle. So, how would you all like to proceed?
Well, I can do some maths for a little while if you like.
I think maybe
it won't be fun or interesting.
Maybe rolling reason is good, and you can burn grit to boost.
Cool.
I would say normally the way the grit system works, if you're helping, you just you give a +1 basically to someone, because we're trying to incentivize individual, gambling through the grit system by burning grit. But in this case, would either Walt or 5 intersecting circles like to try to help by decoding a part of the problem? We'll say it's kind of a proof there's multiple parts, in which case you can make your own reason check and we'll kind of do a multiple successes thing.
Can I pitch for this being a will check purely on the grounds that Hrine sort of empathize with mathematical problems instead of reasoning their way through them?
Like you see it as oh, it's me, right? Like I am math. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's do that.
Cool. Yeah, in that case, I'll be rolling will.
Okay, so we're rolling will and reason to try to get 2 successes here. Depending on, obviously 6 or better is needed, but higher number is much better. This is very difficult. Harry, what is Walt doing while these nerds are basically doing math on whatever sort of sketch pad to eventually enter in numbers into a little comm that'll sort of reroute something electromagnetic to make the door in the wall go somewhere else. Yeah, high octane mathematics. That's exactly what it is.
Yes, I think Walt is addressing Gardamillions and saying, "Hey, Garfield, I don't think you're one of mine, but could you give me a hand with these sticks here? Now, which way points where?"
My name is I'm junior engineer Gardamillions, by the way. And yeah, the stick you just can you can affix them to almost any surface. We made a universal. It's actually really cool the way it works on the bottom. It was based a little bit on gelasti fronds. So it's like little tiny hairs, based on basically pollen that comes out of our necks, and so that's going to be on the bottom, and then you could just stick it, and as long as they're kind of parallel, it'll figure it out. It's really meant to be for non-banshees, so it's meant to be you just stick the sticks in. What are you at? Is that what you're asking? They're just sticks. You just stick them on the ground next to each other. Like
oh, magnificent! I'm just curious about how all this works. Here, That thing you said about your fronds, that's very interesting. Would you mind holding still for 4 to 6 hours while I sketch you?
You're weird. I like you. I'm gonna watch them, but sure, I can kind of try to like hold myself in the door, and she just kind of like, like make sure she's more or less stable in the door.
Yeah, and Walt sketches in with just a bit of a trickle of his own blood from his fingertip. Just starts sketching on a random scrap of fabric.
Great, yeah. Maybe random scrap of fabric is like one of the many technical manuals in Spin, printed out cheaply on algae paper to explain, the operations of various emergency. If the jump jungle is on fire, if the jump jungle is stuck in the wrong time and/or space, if Escher-esque beings are entering the jump jungle through it and accidentally mistacked stiffworks, you just rip off a page and start drawing over it. All right, let's do some rolls finally. So, what do we get for reason? For Ezekiel.
Oh, I didn't roll. Oh, I wanted to. I'm gonna burn 3. I feel like I should do more than that, but whatever. I rolled a 5 plus 4 is 9.
9. Okay, got to 9. All right, that's great. That's definitely a success. You're doing
5 intersecting circles is also going to burn 3 grit, just on account of the amount of concentration it takes to stay on task and not get distracted by all the other stuff that's going on. So I'm going to roll my will, and that's a 4, which plus 3 is a 7.
Excellent. Okay, so you definitely got 2 successes. And if you want, Harry, you might want to roll either movement or charm if you're trying to draw actually something good that is like art. I'm not sure if your character like views it as something that is important, but if so, you can roll 2.
The most important, and yeah, I will roll charm.
Great.
That's a 4.
4. Okay, it's not your best work, but it's a start, right? You've never drawn this species, so it's new.
It's Ariel, but with whiskers. That's it.
You just drew Ariel for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Gelasti does not have a mermaid tail by any stretch of the imagination, but that's what he's drawn.
I love that. You meet an alien and just are like, this is what I see. 5 intersecting circles in Ezekiel. You have put together a large portion of the riddle. You're pretty sure you're on the right track, but you still have to do some more work here. And I think at this point, Jesse, does something strange happen when you get on the right track? Basically, when you are entering into your sort of scratch pad, the more or less correct answer, but it's not quite there.
Yeah. So, Zeke, you hear a voice that you have heard before. Saying like, "Oh, almost there. A little left, a little, how do you say? Swap the 8, and then move the pieces." This is you would remember from your last venture, the Shuta that you met on observation post. She's got a distinctive voice, I declare.
I think for a second Zeke doesn't even register. Like she's already sort of taken on board the extra dimensional elephant legs and their kind of strange voice, and so another voice in their head is just like, yeah, sure, okay. And she's like, oh right, the lambda function should smell like rhubarb and not like refuse. Okay, all right, that was the problem. And I think it takes her a solid like 30 seconds to register that something has happened. And she's like, wait, hey, are you still there? She says this out loud because she hasn't figured out the talking.
We're still here.
Yeah, sir, hold on just a second. On another channel.
I just wouldn't have expressed it that way because I have no nose. But you got there.
Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to translate between a few different... where are you?
I'm here. But this is sort of like helping you solve the riddle.
Did you want to come with us? We're gonna head to the Beyond Ring. I think some of your friends are there.
At that, silence.
Okay. Well, you've made headway, but you have to essentially keep going. So we're gonna do one more set of rolls. And Harry, Walt has drawn a Gelasti, sort of, but actually a mermaid. Guard of Millions is staring in confusion at Zeke and Five Intersecting Circles and wondering what you all are thinking and trying to follow along maybe with scraps of math. So she's like, oh, the Penrose lambda derivative minus, I see, it's the inverse. Oh, that's so elegant.
No, it's plus or minus. So it's an interval on either side.
Oh, I'm lost again. Okay, let's do one more check. It's a reason check and a will check for Five Intersecting Circles to feel and Ezekiel to rationally power through the famous last riddle of Magnagog, Rooster Vetex, the banshee who disappeared generation ago into Narm.
I'm burning 3 again.
Same.
Great. Love to burn all your grit before we get started.
Well, impossible riddles. I mean, what else are you going to burn grit on?
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, okay.
It's another 5.
I got a 12 plus 3 for 15.
Wow.
Oh, killing it.
So 5 plus 3 for 8 or 5 total, Jennifer?
5 plus 4 again. I just rolled this
5 plus 4.
again.
Got it.
So 9.
So 2 more successes, and in one case, not just an epic success, but a monumental, impossible success. So I would say eventually Ezekiel could probably figure this out. Ezekiel is clearly very intelligent and also getting help from like different post-human ghost type people, a question mark. But Five Intersecting Circles, you just feel like you can now sort of see, however you would metaphorically state this, you can see the sort of options, the branching possibilities, and kind of guide Ezekiel's hand to fill in numbers.
This one's like immersion in a warm bath.
Hold on, let me in like an integer sort of way or a like derivative. What do you mean by that?
Capacity. Think of displacement. The water rises.
I think for just a second she has like that sort of flash of insight when you just get something for a second. Like it's gone almost instantly, but she knows that she could understand it again. Like she's kind of got the connection there, that inspiration suddenly.
Yeah, in a platformer, when you figure out the loop of how the boss moves around and you hit it for the first time and you're like, okay, I could do, like, okay, I died, but I know I can get back here and do this. Yeah, the flash is there. It's like 17. The answer is 17, whatever it is. You have it. Ezekiel and Five Intersecting Circles, there's some sort of, maybe like ghost moment where like elephantine legs are like
yeah, I was going to say. The 2 massive legs around the side. One of them is still just at the back, I guess, providing a backrest support.
Yeah.
Like in a gamer chair, just like doing maths together.
Very important to maintain posture.
You gotta stick around, Cirque. This is great. We should do this more often.
And you see yourself, of course, spinning with the station at however fast, probably like 1,700 kilometers an hour or something. Walt, are you like ripping off another page, doing another sketch of Guard of Millions, who, by the way, thinks this is very cool? But what is Walt doing as the solution is found?
As the solution is found, Walt just kind of he hears Five Intersecting Circles says something about a bathtub, and he just adds a bath for Ariel to be in, and then proudly writes Garfield on it and gives the manual to Guard of Millions.
Excellent. I think Guard of Millions, so as the solution is found and you've retacked the stiffer successfully, Guard of Millions has this manual of like important information that now has one page obscured by this weird drawing of Ariel under the sea in a bath. And she's like looking at Ezekiel and just says, this is so cool. This is very cool. And like recedes, like she has a bit of a crush, and she recedes out of the doorway. And needs to fix that page of the manual and then return it to its spot. You've retacked the stiffwork, so if you want, you can open it. It's trivial to now tack open. It costs 2 grit of effort to actually do all of the final solutions in terms of the electromagnetic part, get the parts to spin correctly, whatever the motor to do. But yeah, you figured it out, and you could probably publish this later if you wanted. You might have to reconstruct it, like you said, like kind of redo some of the parts that you don't totally understand, because a being from outside of typical time space just kind of told you. But yeah, you think you get it.
Hey, Zerk, do you have like pyramid schemes in the Escher-esque? Because academic publishing is like the greatest one that people ever came up with.
Pyramid. I think I know them.
Great. Let's write a paper.
Great. All right. Well, if you're burning 2 grit, then
Let's go.
The door is open, and we're gonna go through. And I think maybe Ryan, do you feel like you can kind of take over for what is on the other side of this Stiffworks?
I certainly can. So it is dark. It's just pitch dark as you walk through the Stiffworks. Those of you wearing an enviro suit with maybe some running lights can illuminate the ground, featureless black stone, gently sloping up as 3,000 kilometer wide diameter circle, circular surface wood on the interior of a cylinder, and off in the distance, very maybe a kilometer or two, a faint light, a glow of light, sort of beckons you toward the Ambactor's encampment. Traversing the kilometer or two distance is not difficult, although you do come across what looks like maybe a root or vine slightly hacked apart. You're just sort of seeing the evidence of the previous venture who visited this Stiffworks.
Ezekiel has been looking for plants for several months on every venture she's been on, so there's not a chance she's not going to be immediately distracted by that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I brought it up. And yeah, so Zeke stops to collect some samples, and
hell yeah,
sort of dried out and crusted over in a way that you're not used to with plants, but in the low light conditions here, definitely the closest analog to describe this would be plant-like. So you collect some samples.
Hell yeah, finally. Just gonna type I got plants with like 16 exclamation points in my notes. Plants, yeah, you're right. Quotes. Yeah, she's fully distracted by that for a good few minutes.
Fantastic. Walt, 5 intersecting circles. What are your initial impressions of this place? What is it like for a Rhine in low gravity hard vac? Do you have to wear an enviro suit?
I don't think so. I think it's mostly just getting used to interacting with something that has curvature in 3 space like this does. It's such a gradual curve that it's almost like they're not expecting it. And so occasionally you'll see one of the legs kind of half stumble a little bit as if trying to figure out the surface. And so like dexterity-wise, they seem to be at a bit of a disadvantage just for sort of basic locomotion. It's taking them a little while to figure it out. And you see the shadow sort of waver occasionally as that happens and just kind of like go, oop, and then reassert itself sort of stand still a little bit, maybe take a couple of paces back, and then step forward again as if trying it out for the first time. Sort of like a child learning to walk almost.
Yeah, I was going to say wobbly knees Bambi at the beginning of the movie.
Yes, yeah. I mean, to bring it back around full circle to Walt Disney, yes, absolutely.
Uh,
Surely Dumbo.
There's a little bit of Dumbo in here
right,
too.
yeah,
definitely.
totally. So yeah, it's relatively uneventful going, but you make it to the Ambactor's encampment, which is sort of rough, like improvised Quonset hut with you know, a tarp stretched out to the side over a few like industrial work lamps. Under one edge of that tarp, there's a like spread out sort of array of disassembled small tech pieces. One of these is sort of just blinking. The rest are totally off and silent. But that one sort of catches your attention.
Zeke wants to go have a look at it. The first thing she wants to do is make sure it's not going to explode.
It's not going to explode. It's a basic comms. It's just sort of, it was recently activated, and someone seems to have left it behind just in case.
I think, like I just did, Zeke looks around for someone who's in charge. Like, she's been on a lot of ventures with Hal, and Hal's the factor, and Hal's in charge. And so she kind of like looks to ask someone, like, "Hey, what do you think?" And yeah, like, "Oh, it's me, I guess." She's just gonna pick up the comm and go, "Hello, is anyone out there?"
And then like gruff voice comes back. Oh, yep, they came back. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, I'm Zeke. I'm here with a couple of representatives from the Go Down. Who's this, please?
And the walkie kind of clips in with that characteristic chirp, and then you hear 3 sort of servo whines, and then it's silent.
What a lovely name.
3 overlapping servo noises. Delightful. We seem to have found your encampment. Can we meet you somewhere?
You know, it clips back on, and this like sort of electronic-y voice that has been speaking to you says, "Yeah, I'll make my way back to camp. I was just, organizing some things. It sounds very inconvenient for him to come and see you at camp."
Zeke's not bothered by that.
And Walt makes to speak on the comm if Zeke will allow it.
Yeah, I think she hands it over because she's distracted for a second. She's gonna try, and she doesn't know how this works, so she's gonna try and talk to Akil in her head again. So you can take the comm off of her, no problem.
Okay, so Walt presses the comm and says, "Bring back any India ink that you find. 'Tis imperative. I'm Walt Disney, you know."
Zeke regrets basically all of her life choices.
And you hear just sort of like, okay, and the like shuffling of items, and then it cuts out again.
He says, "I think I saw a big squid up here somewhere. Maybe that's got some ink."
There's plenty of trees. Maybe you can make some paper?
Yeah, off in the distance, the light just reaching the edge of it, sort of the ghost of the silhouettes of trees. It's far enough away that the light doesn't reach clearly. Like, you don't get color, but you can see trees that sort of seem to be there as you glance away from them. But if you look directly at them, they're not there. It's actually a little bit, off to the side. You're standing on the edge of the superimposed forests.
Just briefly, Zeke just wants to, just in her head, go, Akil, are you, I don't know if you can hear me, but we've made it back to the encampment. Is there anything you want me to say?
Speaking as Jesse, I don't think it works that way.
It's completely fine that it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Looking at the tree.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Looking at the trees, Walt says, someone forgot to colour the trees, bloody cheapskates. Must be the ink shortages.
Yeah, and you have plenty of time to sort of look around camp and explore a little bit while you're waiting for the pepper elf still rider, who has been called A in the company's notes.
Whatever anyone else wants to do, Zeke just has 2 questions. She wants to know what the tech lying around, like if she can figure out what somebody was trying to build or accomplish with that, like what they were trying to do with it and why they were messing with it. And she wants to try and figure out how many people seem to be living here.
Yeah, why don't you make a reason check? And I think I'm just going to make it kind of like stepped. A standard success is some information, difficult. 9+ is more, etc.
That's nothing. I rolled a 2 + 1, 3.
Yeah, it's been a long time, basically, since that activity. So it's really hard to piece together the clues. But as you sort of, move around the space, there's clearly, in the Quonset, little, almost like apartment, just like cubicles for the 6 ambactors once staying here. Probably the day that they couldn't retack the stiff works to reach the go down.
The one that Zeke wants to try and find is the roosters. That's the one she's most interested in. So she'll just have a look around while the other 2 are doing what they want to do.
What does Walt sketch while y'all are at the camp?
So Walt is sketching the camp, again using his sort of blood as an ink. He's actually the camp itself. Are there kind of any canvas tent fabrics or anything around to deface?
Some type of textile. I don't know its make necessarily, but just sort of some like survivalist, material that they have stretched over the little like workbench area and sort of like meeting area. Maybe it's like, gathering space outside of the Quonset, as well as the outer surface of the Quonset is made out of something that it's just not common. Maybe it's made out of something like an envirosuit.
Okay, so on the kind of flat hide-like surface that you described, he's going to do animated with the because they are blood nanites that do move. He's doing just an animated loop of Steamboat Willie just on the surface there.
Yeah, and then I'm just trying to piece together what dust looks like in the Beyond Ring, because 60 years of, layered. Is
Yeah.
there dust? Is
So
there even atmosphere?
So Narm doesn't spin, and there's no
Yeah.
atmo. So it is hard vac, but it's protected completely from micrometeorites that would otherwise eventually destroy something just kind of floating around interstellar space. It's protected more or less also from from space weather, from massive, stellar pulses of electromagnetic radiation that again would eventually fuck with stuff. So there's there's microgravity toward the outside of Narm. So since you're on the outside, you're kind of like stable if you don't move a lot. You don't like fly around. So it's a little bit like the surface of Luna or something. And so the tents, the sort of everything would have to be very sealed off. And presumably everyone out here is wearing a suit. But yeah, if there's stuff that's just been left for a long time, it's just like more or less preserved. If it's food, it's probably not edible for a variety of reasons after 60 years, but it's like there. It hasn't changed much in look, but it probably wouldn't be very delicious. One of you doesn't really eat anyway, being a bunch of intersecting circles or 3 weird legs. But yeah, for the others, there's this sort of series of tents, and I don't know the situation with these sort of space plants and this sort of whole ecosystem that's developed. So I think that is a question of like, how do these things do they provide more shelter? But it seems like this is like, right, Ryan, kind of a sheltered area within the chaos of Narm.
Yeah, it is. It was the one quiet space that they could, set up a place after they got disconnected.
Potentially no one else wants to go there, and that's why.
Right.
I think at this point, 5 intersecting circles is just really excited about the environment, because this is possibly the thing that feels closest to a home-like experience in 3 space. And I think for a while you sort of see them playing. There's obviously, you said there's a sort of superimposed forest, this kind of like on the very edge of like peripheral vision. You see these sort of silhouettes of trees. I think you hear laughter occasionally coming from the direction of the 3 legs as they try and emulate these tree trunks as much as possible, and then sort of break out of the character that they're doing and move on to sort of the next area. And then I think that sort of sphere of interest for them sort of narrows, and they start to investigate the camp a little bit more, get interested in what Zeke is looking for, and you see the knees bend as it sort of bends down, still feeling sort of strangely encumbered in the space, despite the fact that it seems like there's a lot of space around us, still sort of awkwardly trying to work out how best to interact with the things in front of them.
I love that. I'm just the weird crew we've got. Just it's so fun. So as you're all kind of getting your bearings, exploring the camp, drawing some doodles, maybe an hour has gone by, but eventually, and with occasional check-ins, maybe every 10 or 15 minutes over that walkie. Eventually A arrives in camp, and it's this pepper elf in a like oversized still rider suit. So he's much taller than any of you, except whatever tall means to Frine. Much taller than any other pepper elf that you've seen, although within the exosuit you can see how his feet stop 2.5, 3 feet off of the ground. And he is pretty unhelpful when he talks to you. He wants to get more information out of you than he gives to you, if that makes sense. And basically he just says, hey, as he gets to the edge of the camp, hey, voidminers, what's going on? Why'd you come back here?
Sorry, I'm a little confused. I mean, we were sent out here to check on you guys because I thought that you had kind of gone through the stiff works and gotten stuck out here. Are you not trying to get back?
Oh, yeah, I guess I didn't really make that clear when those other guys came through. Well, I think I'm the only one left. Rooster went into the forest. I saw Tint for a second.
Sorry,
who knows where she went? Tint. She was... Whatever, don't worry about it. She disappeared a week, maybe less, after we landed here. It's not worth worrying about. I've
You're not
been
worried
here,
about... Okay.
and
Yeah.
I've figured things out. The forests suck, but
I mean, do you want to
there's
leave?
some... No, I'm comfortable here. I've been living here for 60 years. How am I going to integrate with your society?
I mean, you don't have to integrate with a society. It's a big universe. You can just go literally anywhere else.
Yeah, but I know this place.
All right. Well, what about the rest of your crew? You've mentioned that's 4. Where are the other 2?
Well, last I heard from Ten Vineholder, it was living not far from here, on the edge of the forests, in a LT Hulk. I can't remember what did it call that? It was a long time ago. So, plumbing I can't remember. I could take you there. I know where that is. I walked past, I don't know, a few weeks ago.
They were still there?
Yeah, that Hulk. That was there. I don't know that it moves.
What about the last one?
And this is where my GM knowledge stops. Wife, do you know where the last one is?
Not here.
Not here. Yeah, and I think that's all the information that A would have as well.
Name? Kind of thing? Cool. All right. Well, yeah, go ahead.
I would say if you're trying to get more information out of A, who does not seem... A seems reticent to talk to you, so I would say you could just roll a charm check to try to figure out what's this dude's deal. And I think, Ryan, you're rolling opposed will, whatever the will score that you think A would have.
Mm-hmm.
These people have been, in their various ways, living in Narm. They're the only known people who just decided to live here. It's like deciding to live, not like in Yosemite, but like on Mount Everest.
They're off the grid in a big way.
Yeah. And having no connection, like imagining, I understand there's like actual, Sherpa communities or whatever, metaphor. Deciding to live in Antarctica, and that's a better one. You just live out there. So they've made it, but they are doing whatever they're doing to survive. So they've kind of lost it, yeah.
I don't suppose pepper elves count as AI, do they?
No.
That's a great question. No, I don't think so. I think as playable non-ox species, they're just people. But I mean, yeah, technically, I guess they're AI. But they reproduce. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Just asking if empathize applies here.
No, yeah, that should be separated out for like war machines. Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I rolled a 3. I don't think they're being subtle or tactful.
Mm-hmm. And I rolled a 6 for A. I think will is the one thing that has kept A alive on the edge of the superimposed forests. Will and probably move. Sorry, I was going to check one note really quickly. Right. Okay. So here you are on the edge of the superimposed forests, and A doesn't want to answer your questions, but starts to ask you why you came here You said you're just here to check up on us?
Yeah, we had some voidminers send a team out a while ago, but then the stiffworks that was tacked here was retacked somewhere else. So we were trying to figure out what happened to this one and if you had anything to do with that or what's going on.
Me? No, I don't know anything about stiffworks. That's Rooster's domain.
Okay, where are they?
Your guess is as good as mine. She walked off into the forest. She was losing it. I haven't seen her since. Maybe that was 50 years ago by your clocks.
So here, Walt's going to cut in and say, Peter, addressing the Pepper Elf. Where are the lost children? Why is it only you here?
Yes, it's only me here. I thought I said that.
But Peter, why?
Because they all went mad or died or something else happened. I don't know what happened to Akil. She seemed good, but then I didn't see her again.
I saw her like some unspecified amount of time ago, because I literally don't know how long ago that was. Some amount of time between 24 hours and 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it would have been
I
a week or
haven't seen
two.
her for 50 years at least. I think it's been at least 50 years by your clocks since I saw any of them.
Well,
Except
she was.
Tint. Where did Tint go? I don't know.
She was alive if you care, but it sounds like you don't. Like Zeke's getting visibly frustrated with this person. And I think she's gonna let like maybe Walt and Circles talk to him a bit. And what she wants to do is figure out. She's trying to remember where they're actually supposed to be going from here, like where the coordinates are from here, and like where they're supposed to go on to.
So the coordinates are dead ahead into the superimposed forest. They're kind of like down there to the left. So it gets you're in like a calm spot, and you're going to like a very not calm spot where the physics become Escher-esque.
That'll probably be fine. Cool. She's gonna kind of get her bearings while the other two are doing what they're gonna do.
Can I ask what the crystalline skin of A looks like?
Yeah, you certainly can. What did I write? It's ruddy red, reflects some of the light, and as it sort of, as the light changes, or the angle of light changes as it moves around, it sort of looks like slow burning wires, like if you press steel wool to a battery and it crackles. But it has these thick clumps sort of all over its outside, or all over its skin, right?
You are a beautiful drop of ink, Peter. And Walt makes to touch A.
A basically doesn't react. It's
I think we might have.
and you, getting lost? Am I
Yeah,
back?
we lost you.
You're
for a
back.
second there, Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, A just kind of like gives you a look as you go to touch his skin. It's just surprised more than anything, but doesn't, or he seems to not take you as any danger to himself, and doesn't move away reactively. He's also forgotten how to deal with other individual people, basically. It's like, what the fuck?
just creepily caressing his skin slowly without saying anything. And that's all.
Yeah, and after a beat, I think, of him just kind of staring at you, he's had enough, and he moves away, and probably starts to like walk out to the edge of the encampment, and eventually says, "Well, if you just want to have a look around, knock yourselves out, but I'm gonna go back."
Go back to what?
I was organizing my stuff.
Your stuff?
Just,
What, your trees?
I don't know. Just why are you even interested? It's just stuff I've collected.
I mean, listen, you know how the company works. Our job is to come out here and check on you. I'm just trying to do my job.
And yeah, and you can kind of see him cast his memory back to what it was like working for the company, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I guess you would want some of my stuff. You better not follow me then."
Listen, which direction is 10 Vineholder? You can just point, and you can go back to your stuff.
Well, it's in the same direction.
Okay.
Just look, if you want to go see them or see it, just follow me, I guess.
That's the direction we were going to go anyway, right? To find the Stiffworks, like deeper in.
It's along the edge of the forest, so it's not in the wrong direction, but it won't get you. It's not the fastest path.
I think that's fine because I mean, the cover Zeke's decided on is that they're going to check on this group of people, so it would be weird to not do that. So they're at least going to head that direction until they can get rid of this guy.
You said it lives on a hulk?
Yeah. Some, I don't know. It's not very big. One of those Tefnian ships. Kind of looks like, I don't know, big cucumber.
You can't tell, but you get the sense that Five Intersecting Circles is nodding like this is very sage, like, observation.
Look, I never got along with that Hulk, so when we get close, I'll be on my way, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to keep your stuff waiting.
So you're all traveling together into the superimposed forests toward a Hulk. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
Okay.
love playing a guy who sucks. It's so fun.
Fully on board with that.
Yep. Same here.
Well, Ryan and Jesse, are there physical dangers? Are there environmental threats that have to be navigated, or is whirring sound able to lead the voidminers in such a way that they do not have to experience those temporal dangers?
So I think is like in a long-winded kind of way, made it really seem like they were going a long distance. They get there pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. And without realizing it, I think A is explaining to you exactly how to move. Right? A is like essentially trained as a guide, hasn't guided anyone around the superimposed forests before. And even though it's been 60 years since that was like his job, is just doing it by accident, right? Even though he's annoyed with you.
It's like crossing the desert in Dune, where you have to walk in a certain rhythm or whatever, or without rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think you see Five Intersecting Circles' legs sort of try and match pace with a two-legged pepper elf in a Still Rider suit, and it's sort of working.
Mm-hmm.
It's very funny to imagine the anti-shuffle, the anti-electric slide of all of you walking in this like weird pattern, which I think is more like the movie Stalker Zona, where like you have to keep doubling back. So it's like
Yeah, yeah.
really annoying because this guy doesn't explain any of it, and then sometimes they're just like going backward, and you're like, "What the fuck are we doing?" But like that's because there's like a time quake that they can see subtly from the ripple of these xenoplants that are like suddenly turn to ash and then like come back alive.
Yeah. And he's talking really grumpily the entire time.
Yeah.
So
But
you
eventually,
arrive.
yeah, you arrive at this hulk, and you know, there are some little sort of like accent ridges of light glowing very, very faintly, but colored as you know get within sight of this small hulk, which is, you know, the size of a like double-decker bus, you know, the red ones in London. It yeah, so he points it out and sort of stands there looking at you expectantly to leave. There's that, you know, that's where Ten Vineholder was living.
Cool, thanks. Let us know if you ever want to lift out of here. Otherwise, enjoy your stuff, I guess. And he's walking away.
I keep getting
Bye.
this heat off. Okay, bye.
I love how
Well
much
said.
Zeke hates this person.
Go ahead, Johnny.
I was going to say the shadow of 5 intersecting circles sort of briefly floats by and says, "It does look like a cucumber," and then floats away and joins the legs and then carries on following Zeke.
Great.
And yeah, Walt just says to Zeke, "Alice, now play nice with the other children. Sorry, Peter. Is Captain Hook aboard this vessel?"
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man. Who are
Is
these?
there danger
What are
aboard
these
the
names?
vessel?
Danger? I doubt it. I haven't gone in there since I saw Ten Vineholder.
You be on your way now and you live your dreams. Don't let the adults tell you what to do.
I like this guy. He's like looking at Zeke, pointing at Walt. I like this guy.
She's walking away.
And then, yeah, as you approach this small hulk, a little bit of light sort of peps up, and you see almost hologrammatically the form of a watan, sort of shorter than average watan, with greenish skin, gray-green, sort of mottled. Walking around, doesn't seem to pay you any mind.
I just wanted to ask as I approach, just wanted to like open comms, like don't want to ping, just if the Hulk is sending any like low level identification or anything, like the Hulk itself has any kind of running message to identify itself or give any information about where it came from.
Yeah, I think we've established that Zeke kind of has figured out how to like get the you know, basic identification without notifying the Hulk that she's there. So yeah, you get you know, just quick ID tag that this is Mushpesh Adaman, also known as Voracious Wizardry.
And I'll put the names in the chat. But Voracious
Oh, yeah.
Wizardry would be the name in Spin, and Mushpesh Adaman is the name in Late Tefnian, which means literally glistening city of argument.
Is there any way to tell if it's awake, like if its AI is activated, or if it's just a space?
Why don't you make a will check?
My other favorite.
Mm-hmm.
6.
Yeah, it's enough. It's awake, but sort of at a low level. You know, it isn't like when you first approached the Aegis of Var, totally quiet, dead, and it took you like days to wake it up.
Yeah.
But it isn't like lively and kicking like Consort or Nettle Shield are.
It's
Can you
hit snooze a few times.
Yeah. Could you just describe to me what you do, like, when you make a will check to, like, check it out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Zeke.
What's that
Or
like?
anybody
How do
else
you
who
do?
wants to check it out.
I think for Zeke, she's trying to, like, it's not radio waves, so it's not quite the same, but kind of tune in and see like how much signal they're getting, like what is kind of layered on top of it, like trying to sort of understand what information is encoded in that signal and how much is there. Like if I were to send a ping, would I get back, like what kind of frequencies is it listening on, that kind of thing. Like it's a very kind of technical, kind of trying to tune into the frequency sort of listening.
So physically touching it?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah, great. How about the waiting form? Does anyone sort of regard that in any way?
Walt will definitely regard that. And
There you go.
And say, hey, Flick, over here. I am your creator. Speak to me.
Can I just say I really love, Harry, that your version of Walt Disney Resurrected is like Matt Berry doing Daniel Day-Lewis being like an oil baron, like Gilded Age bad guy. It's so funny that's like that's the version that your character is like. I understand who Walt Disney was.
And,
he was like
claims the oeuvre of the entire Walt Disney Company, regardless of era, medium.
Exactly.
It's like those plushies that I designed.
I hope that you play this character so long that you run out of Disney references.
Well, the company will of course have kept going, so there'll be Gorgoth the Insatiable, the later character,
Yeah.
and many other favourites.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Amazing. Well, so this waiting form, which is not quite, it's pretty ethereal looking, does not respond to you at all. But it seems to be like interacting with something on the walls of this room you're in, and then sort of wanders off.
I'll follow it.
Are we inside the Hulk at this point?
You may be just outside of it. Whatever range you can read, whatever, electromagnetic to get its ID. You're probably nearby, but maybe you spot that waiting form first outside, and it walks inside, and Walt follows it.
Is there any way of seeing inside from outside? Or is it like completely closed off? When you said double-decker bus, I'm automatically imagining viewports.
There's a bunch of windows. I don't think so. Yeah. In this case, I would describe it as pretty like sleek cut lines, and there are those sort of like detail paint, but it phosphoresces, emitting a very, very soft colored glow.
Because when we see the Waitan disappear inside, I think 5 intersecting circles' legs sort of bend a little bit, as if to try and measure physically whether they can fit into whatever aperture this Waitan has gone inside the Hulk by. And realizing that they can't, they sort of squat a little bit and sort of spider crawl around to try and see if there's another way in, but sort of walk back looking a little bit downtrodden and sheepish.
Is that how it works? Can you not get into places that have doors, like because of how big you are?
So the Shrine are 3 meters tall, and awkward, quote unquote. So the species power says I cannot fit into small spaces. I can barely fit into a room blob on spin, and I have to spend grit if I want to manifest in 3 space during like combat for like a round or something that's kind of turn based. I think I could probably phase through things, but then I'd lose any sense of interaction with the environment, and there's a chance that I could end up somewhere different because I'd become distracted by stuff that's happening in higher dimensions. So maybe I'd return to the physical dimensions here, but it'd be like an hour later and everyone would already be gone or something, because the time axis of what's going on here would be a little bit like, yeah, abstracted to me. So yeah, I think they're trying to figure out how they can still be here whilst also not physically present in the space, and sort of like peeking around the door is about the best that they can do.
I think didn't Zeke pick up a walkie-talkie? Is that helpful?
Sure. Yes.
I don't know. Just stay in the scene.
Zeke,
go inside.
Can you leave comms open? I can't fit.
Yeah, sure. I've got a spare. How? I'll just put it down. Sure.
I also think mechanically you could just burn the grit. I think that's kind of the punishment for being sort of gigantic from a 3-space perspective, is you have to kind of like you said, to keep on track temporally. It's really just the energy, right? It's like you have to be like, okay, fuck, where am I in space to them? So I think as long as you're willing to burn the grit and then describe it in a funny way, Johnny, you can be there. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I kind of like the idea though that the legs are sort of leaning up outside almost. Like like when you kind of cross one leg and lean against a wall, except it's one leg across the other two, and then the comms just sort of like gets picked up somehow, sort of telekinetically, and is floating around where the shadow is, listening in and maybe occasionally chiming in, but unable to quite physically interact with stuff right now.
There you go.
Then I think Walt and Zeke will head inside. You happy with that, Walt?
Yes.
Shall we go try to find Lieutenant Barb? What did you Sergeant Spear? What did you call him?
I lost the reference.
Captain Hook. That was it.
Sorry.
Oh boy. Yeah. So you make your way in through the opening that you saw that Waiton go through, and the Hulk seems to adjust sort of around you and slowly sort of remakes the entrance out of the nanites that the entire form is composed of, so that it is a little bit more comfortable for a Rhine to enter, although there's probably limitations to that. So you could stand inside, but maybe not explore as deeply as the 3-space people.
Oh, I didn't know it could do that.
And a booming voice welcomes you. Greetings, friends, to the voracious wizardry.
Hi. Thanks for welcoming us. Are you the ship?
That's me.
Thanks
and who
for
are you?
Making us a bit more comfortable. We're friends of Ten Vineholder.
Say you don't look old enough to be friends of my friend who sadly long deceased.
You might be surprised, but I mean, friends in sort of a very distant, we technically work for the same company several decades removed kind of way.
Oh, I see. The company.
Is it around somewhere?
And there's sort of a sort of reflective hum in voracious wizardry. I can't say it right now. Voracious wizardry's voice, and instead of answering your question, the Waitin hologram comes back through another door.
Hey. 10 vine holder?
It does not respond. It touches something on the Hulk, fiddles with a button, walks away.
And Voracious Wizardry's voice speaks instead of you to this Waitin and says, "What are you getting up to now?"
Zeke wants to send like a... Basically, she wants to try and communicate with the AI directly, and like I guess she wants to send it a message, like a greeting in Tefnian, to try and like, you know, just get some sense of like where it's at in terms of, is it hallucinating a memory of this person that doesn't exist anymore? Like where are we at here?
Yeah. What do you guys think? Charm roll might be the right way.
Can I use
Yeah.
interface?
Oh, yes, probably. I don't remember exactly interfaces text.
D10 grit, communicate with any AI.
Sounds right to me.
You're going to let me roll for it, but I want to spend grit instead.
Yeah. Yeah, so sort of in late Tefnian or via sort of electronic understanding of how the AI works, you're getting the impression that, yeah, these are sort of memories that it's reliving of 10 vine holder.
Okay. I rolled a 6, so 6 grit to communicate with it.
There you go.
With that, can I just push a little bit and see where those memories are from? Like how old they are or how many times they've repeated?
Yeah, I'll give that to you. It's old, right? It's from the time of the tack quake, basically, from as far back as nearly 60 years or about 60 years ago through to just a few years after that. And since then, it has sort of re-remembered sort of those events quite a lot.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
If you want to get all of that information, it hits you. You're seeing these memories over and over again that this Hulk has been seeing, that and dwelling on, and it's distressing.
I think before they try anything else, they're going to... Can we have like a private comms channel, like in our envirosuits for the crew only?
I think that seems reasonable.
And just say to them, hey, sounds like these are memories that are just being relived over and over. I don't think 10 vine holder is here anymore. I don't think they've been here for a while.
It's a motion picture.
That's a great idea. Have you thought of that? Like moving pictures? That sounds like it could really make you some money.
That's how I made the money to freeze myself in 1966.
Wait, like 1966? I don't think the years go back that far.
Yes, when the thing said we weren't old enough, I was furious. I'm the oldest living thing known.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, Circles senses that Zeke is sort of distressed by this and just goes, "Zeke, are you okay?"
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell if it's upset by this or if it wants to be remembering like this. I mean, I could try to help it if it doesn't want this, but it kind of sounds like it does. And I don't want to stop it if it's remembering something that it wants to remember.
Well, that's really interesting. Because you need something from this ship. Like, right? You need to get somewhere.
That's true. Well, so we're trying to get to the Stiffworks, or are we trying to get to the hole in Narm? Where are we going? The
To the hole, yeah, the phase point inside the superimposed forests.
So, assuming that it has the ability to move still, I could ask it to take us there. But it might not be willing to do that if it's kind of stuck remembering.
Well, can we help it? Can we offer it something?
I guess let's find out what it wants. And she'll switch back to, I think, open comms, just so that everybody can hear the conversation, and just say like, hey, voracious wizardry. You're right, that does suck. How you've been out here with 10 Vineholder this whole time, right? Or like, how's that going?
Why, yes, I've been here with 10 Vineholder a while, but before it reached me, I was out here quite a lot longer.
And you see this Waitan looking much more like hunched and going through a different door in this kind of see-through way.
Can I try to just follow it? Like, does it go through a door that I can follow? Like, look around the corner?
Yes.
I would like to do that.
Yeah, so you go through a door, and sort of on the other side is what looks like sort of a bioengineering lab that it's cobbled together from, what voracious wizardry can make for it, and what equipment 10 Vineholder might have brought with it. It looks like it was trying to grow algae, maybe as a food substitute.
Unsuccessfully?
Unsuccessfully.
Yeah. Unsuccessful plans in this room, Zeke.
Can I just take some of those with me?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean it's 50-plus-year-old, dried out, sort of relivened by the memories as 10 Vineholder passes, or the memory of 10 Vineholder passes over an area that they look alive again briefly, and what you can collect is essentially ash.
Either of the other two want to look around in here or anywhere else?
I think the shadow of 5 intersecting circles floats as far as it can from the legs, as though sort of peeking its head around various places. Is there anything else like in the cabin that we started in that they can see?
I think everyone should roll will
Sure.
to sort of generally sense what's going on here.
Trying to perceive things in 3 space is difficult for me.
Yeah.
That's a 10.
Great. Well, you don't have to necessarily perceive the room as such, but you're perceiving the ship, which for some reason sort of gave up its original title Mushpesh, Adam, and Glistening City of Argument, and has allowed it to become adopted by these voidminers and be called Voracious Wizardry. It's a sort of doom metal band name that one of them bestowed upon it. But you can tell that it really likes being used. I mean, it's programmed to do stuff for humans, essentially. So it is essentially losing its mind and replaying scenes because it is lonely. It misses humans and wetans. Wetans are more or less humans to it, right? They're just humans that look different. And it is hopeful that you will essentially use it and fill it with sort of life. So it is kind of just replaying these scenes, doing the equivalent of like, child waiting for Christmas toys to be unwrapped. And I don't know how you would see this, Johnny, if 500 Second Circles kind of sees in the root level code or is seeing some other completely metaphorical like way that it is behaving or thinking. But I think you get a sense of what it sort of is feeling at present.
I'm sort of imagining it being like the scene in Minority Report where they're like scrubbing through images of the crimes that are being committed or whatever, but it's just kind of like memories of the ship and different kind of different elements of its past and its likes and dislikes, and just kind of like swabbing around through that and kind of going, oh, so many feelings.
Zeke really feels that because I rolled a 1. I think she's just getting overwhelmed with like the repetition of it and like this kind of growing hum of that kind of distressing, like revisiting the same memories over and over. Like she's just kind of falling into it a little bit.
Yeah, Zeke, you see like this one, like these memories of like particularly this one Waiton for years interacting with the ship, and the ship's like in this sort of like odd couple way, and they're and for years and years living there trying to like sustain itself, and the ship is like trying to help, but it's there aren't enough resources, and eventually you see this Waiton getting older and kind of decaying, and it, I don't know, maybe breaks your heart, but that's for you to decide.
Just maybe.
Just maybe.
I'm not gonna cry. It's fine. You're gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
I'm gonna roll to cry. No, we're all. I think it's deeply touching. Again, maybe there was a cat. We heard a cat. Maybe there even was a pet cat. I don't know. We'll allow it.
But I think we want to take a little intermission for a brief moment, and then you can request Voracious Wizardry's help after we come back.
Yeah.
That sounds good, Weiss?
Yeah, why don't we do a real short, just bio break, just stretch, and then we'll come back and we'll do the second half with basically, I think we'll just jump into, you have, Voracious Wizardry has allowed you to adopt it, or vice versa. I don't know what it would think in late Tefnian, but it is now hoping that you will basically give it something to do other than sit and dwell upon memories of its last crew. So if you give it instructions that are not that, if you say anything other than sit and be sad that is reasonable, it will pretty much do it. So drive forward a couple 100,000 kilometers to the down and to the left, it can do that. And then we might do some light rolling or something, but we will return there. So maybe we sort of zoom out for the 5-minute break on the three of you exploring the ship and getting situated. And yeah, we'll be back at, let's say, by 4:15. So we're going to resume at 4:15. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Cool.
Perfect.
I'll try to remember to cut this in the future. I'll edit the first venture too. But thanks, guys. Yeah, go run off. We'll be back at 4:15. If you're viewing at home, you can also take a break, and we'll be back with more Narm engines inside engines. Ships inside ships. Yeah, there's lots of ships. Why, hello there, Johnny.
Hi. It's a delight to be something non-physical in like the strictest sense. It's genuinely such an interesting challenge to figure out how this character interacts with anything, and I'm really enjoying myself, and I hope you guys are too.
100%. I think it makes total sense that Imago looked at a stack of CVs of tired, beaten up, mid-level, now second, third, fourth level void miners, and was like, nope, I'm gonna have this Ryan who just met the company, who is just in their heads a bunch of circles. They're just pure math, and we see as 9 foot tall, like towers of weird gray rubbery flesh. I'm gonna have this guy like just hold my beer, just throw that person out there and see what happens, because this venture is all about weird time space stuff, so makes sense to me. Same with Unfrozen Walt Disney, the famous sounds more and more like Holy Roman Emperor or mob boss, but like the famous cartoon boss. Love that. All right, well, when we have everyone back, we will resume. Thanks again everyone for playing, and thanks anyone watching. This is part 2 of 3 of our longer form series. The last game, I think, Ryan, you're the one kind of leading that one in August.
Jesse will.
Jesse, I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah. I don't know. We all work on all of them, so I think we'll probably all be here. But Jesse will be leading that. And yeah, we will find out. We don't know what it is yet, but it'll be again a similar longer form venture and streamed. So yeah, hopefully these are fun. If people like them, we'll try to do some more. And that's Sunday, August 17th. Okay. When Jennifer and Jesse return, we can pick up the plot. Until then, any questions? Anything anyone wanted to say or ask from like a meta standpoint before we dive back into the action?
Sorry, go on.
No, you go ahead.
I wanted to say that mostly just to plug your podcast. I had the pleasure of playing or GMing actually Stillfleet for podcast guest W.H. Arthur recently.
Cool.
Who's been on Why We Roll and talking about we're talking about their work in RPG space, and we had great time. Arthur played a mongrel who had come back from 100 million years further in the future to save one specific little frog person, and it was an absolute blast. So honestly, like, while this is an ongoing adventure, and Narm has been, it's got a legacy amongst the sort of Stillfleet community at this point. This system works so well for one-shots too. People seem to pick it up really quickly, and I'm running another one-shot with a similar scenario this Tuesday, and I'm going to have an absolute blast with it. My players are already really excited for it, so that's raising a glass to Stillfleet in general, really.
Well, thanks so much, Johnny. Really, really appreciate it. And Arthur, we're big fans, so that was a fun one that Chris and I got to meet them and really, go in depth. I mean, that's the whole point of the show. So yeah, if you're interested in behind the scenes making of games, mostly we don't talk about our own games. We do sometimes mention them, but mostly it's other people's. Check out Why We Roll. It's a podcast. Wherever you find podcasts, you can look up Why We Roll by Stillfleet. And if you know anyone who makes cool games, feel free to hit me up on Discord or by email. And we're always looking to talk to indie game designers. So, or even people. I mean, we always say we would talk to someone at Wizards. We started the podcast to talk to people like W.H. Arthur and others, right? There's so many. I will say the UK preponderance of really cool game designers.
Yeah,
Kayla Dice. We've had on a bunch. So
I was going to ask if you've reached out to the guys who do Eco Mofos at all, because that's David Blandy and Daniel Locke. They're Brighton locals. I met them at a game launch for their game at a place that we play all the time. And so if they're not on your radar, Eco Mofos, check that out. It's a hack of Ken and Into the Odds, I think.
Sci-fi,
Yeah. Like they call it Weird Hope instead of Grimdark. And I think that's a really, really fun distinction that I think you guys will get a lot of mileage out of.
I never. I know the game. I'm a fan. I was just looking at their vehicle rules last night, actually. So I would love to talk to them. And I just have on the list. They're on the list of cool games where I'm like, I don't know this person. I should cold email them. But maybe Johnny, you can help us seal that deal.
I'll try and connect you guys on Blue Sky if I can. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, cool. Well, with that, let's return to Narm. Looks like we're all back. And we have about an hour and a half, a little over that, to see what happens here. To recap, the venture is to explore physically what is going on with Operation Bigger Upper Fish, which is the company is convinced the most advanced Tefnian Hulk here in Narm space to pretend to be even more dangerous and threaten to kill any of the wraiths that cause any trouble or, commit any violence, machine-on-machine violence, or harm, obviously the wee little non-machine people who aren't spaceships. And it seems to be working, but also she received a mysterious signal, and you're headed to that location, which is on the outside of Narm, literally, like, at this point, millions and millions of kilometers away from the go down. So you've tacked in to the nearest, the only stiffworks sort of in this region the company knows about, and you are headed for a hypothetical hole that was detected that only exists sometimes, because time and space here don't operate by the same rules. It's almost as if Narm is a straw penetrating down into other dimensional spaces. So the outside sort of space is normal, inside it gets weirder and weirder the further you go. Almost. Ryan, Jesse, take it away.
Yeah. So where we find ourselves now, these three void miners, is on a relatively small sort of personal courier, late Tefnian Hulk, who has adopted the name Voracious Wizardry. Stuck here for decades now, remembering the only person he's ever met, basically, a watan who tried and failed to grow his own food this distant from anything else on Narm. And you have just figured out basically the Hulk's AI personality is just hurting for somebody to help, and it just so happens you might be able to ask for his help. So who do we have here, by the way? Remind us. Johnny, who are you playing?
I'm playing 5 intersecting circles, a Hrine who manifests in 3-dimensional space as a trio of large knobbly legs, going very much on the drawing of them that's in the core rulebook. Mostly wearing knee pads as body armor, and with a floating shadowy shape that sort of orbits those legs. Mm-hmm. Currently folded up so as not to take up too much space and not to interfere with the headroom that's currently inside of Voracious Wizardry. 5 intersecting circles is trying to take up as little space as possible while still remaining present in 3 dimensions.
And Jennifer.
I'm playing Ezekiel, a banshee who's trying to look really cool in her bomber jacket and aviators while she cries quietly about a ship being lonely.
And finally, Harry, round out our crew.
Yeah, so we have Walt. This is a sleeper who believes themselves to be the reanimated corpse of Walt Disney. They are not. They are made of sort of, as a blooder and a sleeper, they are kind of, their flesh is sort of a little bit hanging off them. It's a bit sinewy. Sometimes it sort of winches back up as the nanites pull it back in. It's not a very, it wouldn't convincingly pass for human outside of an enviro suit.
Fantastic.
We're doing great, and we're a cohesive and capable group of people who are definitely well suited for this job.
We are all very, very okay here.
Yeah,
very sane.
I'm fine.
And so you're just basically observing Voracious Wizardry's memories of Tenvine Holder, sort of almost as holograms moving around in the space. And if you follow them around enough and explore, you'll find the surprisingly well-preserved corpse of Tenvine Holder, still in a sort of apartment in the back of Voracious Wizardry. And he kind of narrates, sometimes he's talking to Tenvine Holder as though, that were the current time, and he asks, how is the algae growing today? And 10 Vine Holder might have something to say. And sometimes Voracious Wizardry talks to you and says, oh, that was quite a nice time when 10 Vine Holder couldn't quite figure out how to grow the algae.
So, has the crew gotten the ship moving yet?
I was just gonna ask, but not yet.
I'm gonna say, in the interest of time, the ship starts moving.
Yeah, you all but have to ask, and it'll say, "Oh yeah."
I think our bio break can have covered some basic like introductions where you've deepened your relationship with the ship, and that's for the real heads. They can watch that on the behind the scenes episode that we'll do later. But for now, I think the ship is basically doing your bidding. So it's up to you. But do you ask it to take you to the hole in Narm?
Yeah, I think kind of recovering a little bit, like trying to remember that they're supposed to be like supposedly leading this crew. Ezekiel will ask like, we really need to. We're just trying to find a way to get to a particular point nearby, phase point. Do you think you can? Can you take us there, maybe, if it's not too much trouble?
Most certainly. You say it's within the forests. This will be exciting.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I'll just transmit you the coordinates. I think we might actually be going. Well, we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, and the nanotech engines, as it were, sort of hum to life, and a little bit more sort of like interior lighting, and it gets cozy, and extruding from the wall are very comfortable cushioned benches for each of you to sit down, in such a way that it can make something comfortable for 3 knobbly elephantine legs. It does, so that as it starts to accelerate to near light speed, your bodies don't disintegrate from the G-force.
Excellent point, Ryan.
5 intersecting circle says, "See Zeke, lumbar support."
Zeke's just like.
Yeah, I think you also have to remember this is a 5,000-year-old machine built for war. It was built to carry troops to like drop down onto half terraformed planets and fight off aliens or rogue war machines. So the way it expresses its thanks and such, however, Ryan, you want to say it out loud, is very different. So it's like doing things like trying to have robotic servos offer you drinks, but everything looks kind of like motor oil. And probably more or less is motor oil, and it's kind of like trying to make you comfortable in the ways it thinks you should be comfortable, because it sort of last had a crew of vastly different, post-humans with differently engineered bodies and cyborgic, prosthetics, and just clouds of nanites around them. So the way that it treats you is like as best as it can, but it does not necessarily know what would actually make you comfortable. But to Ryan's point, you're now moving very fast and kind of are stuck in your seats.
Mm-hmm. And because you're... Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
I also would like everybody to make a will to perceive check.
Mm-hmm. And this will check coincides with, as you're moving through the superimposed forests, the image, the appearance, I guess, more like of trees outside of the ship, but also inside of the ship, and sometimes inside of each other, sort of starts to unsettle anyone who is typically anchored in a 3 space. one time. So, Jesse, what do we have from results?
Do we have? Sorry, do we have a chat open for the? Or can everybody tell me what'd you get?
Yeah.
5 intersecting circles rolled a 7.
Okay.
Walt rolled a 1 on a d4.
Hey.
I got a 2 on a d6.
Okay. 5 intersected. This makes a lot of sense, actually. 5 intersecting circles sees this waitan that you have seen before go past, kind of sit down next to you and sort of like open up paper. The other two of you do not see this, but I need you both to roll a will to resist check.
That's a 2 for Walt. Not that there were many odds of succeed.
3 for me.
Okay. You don't see 5 intersecting circles anymore. You're still on the ship. 5 intersecting circles. You're now sitting next to this waitan, and moving.
Hi. Are you comfortable?
Oh, hello. I don't know why I said reading the paper. That's ridiculous. Reading a book. Whatever.
What
I
are
didn't see
you
you there.
reading?
My goodness, what legs you have! Gosh. Hello. I'm
Hi.
10 vine holder. I didn't think anyone else was here. Gosh, it's been so long since I've talked to anyone else. Zeke and Walt, you are on the ship. It's cold. Ryan might have more to say about it.
I was about to jump in and just chit chat with 5 intersecting circles and 10 vine holder as voracious wizardry, but where Walt and Zeke are concerned, voracious wizardry is doing his best to make you comfortable in the way that White's described, and you're becoming very much not comfortable as you're moving through the very unusual physics at very high speeds. Sorry, Jesse, I don't know exactly what. Yeah,
sorry, we can cut back.
Cut back.
So 10 vine holder is like, gosh, what legs? Are you here alone? How have you come here?
I'm here with some friends. Can I see them right now? Have we become completely separate from each other?
Voracious Wizardry chimes in and says, "Oh, I hadn't properly introduced you, and well, I even 10 vine holder here. This is is like getting flustered, having found himself in a unusual, surprising situation. I didn't even get your name. Who are you?
5 intersecting circles.
So, 10 vine holder meet 5 intersecting circles, and 5 intersecting circles here meet 10 vine holder. Well, I like to call it moldy sneeze breeder.
I like 10 vine holder. Our names are quite similar.
Where did your other friends go?
I don't know. They were here and now they're elsewhere. Or
Ten Vine
maybe
Holder like grasps you as soon as you say that. You had friends too that left, that gone, they're gone?
they're
I mean,
gone.
I don't know if it goes through your legs, but
No, I think that the legs are present. I have burned grit to be here in 3 space, so presuming we are still in 3 space in some fashion, then yes, they have a physical presence. And they continue to say they'll be back, I think. What about your friends? Where are they?
I hope they'll be back.
And I think just then, the seats that Voracious Wizardry, sort of extruded for each of you, swivel around back the other direction as he starts to decelerate. We're reaching your destination. And I think Zeke and Walt sort of phase back into existence. You're facing the wrong direction, and you slowly start to fall out of your seats when Voracious Wizardry sort of, oh, there they are, and flips your seats around, catching you just in time.
There they are.
Can we see 10 Vine Holder?
You see 10 Vine Holder grasping the leg of 5 intersecting circles and then fading.
Wait. Sir, did you was there someone here?
Yeah, there was a waiting. We had a good chat.
Where did they go? Where did it go?
I don't know. Somewhere, some when.
Do the envirosuits have clocks?
Yeah, on your wrist, there's a readout that says basically if your suit is pressurized and outside of the suit, it has very basic sensors for like outside is the temperature close to habitable or hard vac or like astral plasma, you're already dead, oops. But it also has things like a clock, just it's like a big, simple display.
Is there any like? I just want to compare mine to if 5 intersecting circles has anything similar, if they show anything different.
It's like strapped to a leg somewhere. It's like a thigh band or something. Yeah.
All your clocks worked fine until you got into the superimposed forest, and now I think they all read kind of randomly. They like jump around, so they're just spelling, like they're just doing weird like graphing calculator spelling boobs with 500 or whatever. It's not it doesn't make any sense at this point.
Good thing we came back.
Also, to your left, you now see there is indeed starlight streaming in to the darkness of Narm, which is otherwise lighted by the running lights of the wraiths or by nothing, by your own suits. So if you could imagine, space itself is actually quite bright, in a way, right? It's full of unobstructed photons of light, but inside Narm, it's very dark when you're not near all those wraiths. And most of the LT wraiths are toward the front, the green ring and the red ring. You are at least a light year away. And in the superimposed forest, it is dark other than the light that you emit. The little carrier you're in is emitting light. And then suddenly you've slowed down and you're in front of, off to your left, a massive, we're talking, thousands and thousands of kilometers long tear in the outer wall that allows in the ordinary glow of the void. However, sometimes it just goes away and it's dark again. And this is entirely dependent on your belief that you can keep track of time and that not that much time has passed, only, let's say an hour or whatever, a couple hours. If you believe instead that you are somehow unglued from time and space, then that will cause some problems. So I think we're just going to do, there's 3 of you, so we'll just need 2 out of 3 successes here. Unless other GMs, you had a different way of doing this. I had a very simple, straight up, they need 2 out of 3 successes to keep on track with being in the present and not the past or future, essentially.
That tracks for me, yeah.
Okay, great. So unfortunately for your way you guys have created your characters, this is a will check. This is just an autonomic nervous system check. It is not related to conscious stuff. I guess maybe it would make sense that you could try to force it, but I think it has a lot more to do with your general just like sense. And I think especially in Walt's case, really Walt is already like, I don't really know what is time, right? I think 5 intersecting circles has probably got this, but all I'm saying, you might want to burn a little grit. You need 2 out of 3 successes on a will check to see the hole, the phase point, as open, a breach, and not closed.
Would you be willing to say this has anything, this would be something in space that's scary?
I think it is definitely in space, and it's definitely scary. Pretty easy to say.
Good stuff. I'll burn 3 on this as well.
I'm making this a flat roll and hoping my d12 doesn't let me down.
Great. Ryan, do you want to roll a d12 for the ship? Renamed Voracious Wizardry by the Ombachters.
VW got a 6.
Great. VW is fine. Sick.
I also got a 6. Yeah.
I guess I rolled a 5, and that's +4 for me, so 9 total.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I rolled a 2 on the d4, so it doesn't matter, but while everyone else is doing important things, Walter's away with the fairies, and to him, the corpse of the wetan kind of becomes miniaturized, jumps on his shoulder, and starts singing When You Wish Upon a Star. And that's it. That's all that's going on in Walt's mind.
Very funny to imagine he's trying to make that happen really hard while they're like trying to focus. Ryan, I guess, what does the ship say when the ship is like, you want me to go through that hole that may or may not be a hole? Like, if I go through it at speed and it's not a hole, we'll all die. And if it is a hole, we'll just be out there in space. But, the ship's going to do it. But I don't know, Ryan, how the ship would explain. Like, sure, I'll do this incredibly dangerous thing for you.
Yeah, I think VW is confident if they're confident, right? And just totally mirrors them and says, hold on, we'll be making a maneuver.
Excellent. Well, in that case, you all succeeded, and you fly out of Narm for the first time. You've explored Narm in various ways. You've never flown out of it in the way that you just did. You can see that the sides, they do look sort of pebbled, pocketed, pocked. They look like there's been a chunk ripped out or destroyed in some way that's left behind a specific texture. Hard to say what could possibly do this. As far as the company knows, nothing can affect Spindlestone for better or for worse. You don't see any chunks flying around. There's just a hole, and you're out. Almost immediately as you turn out, you see something in the distance. It is floating not too far from Narm, but far enough away where it looks small, but it is very large. And it looks kind of like a giant gleaming metal, more or less humanoid figure, sort of emaciated with longer limbs and multiple limbs, but vaguely humanoid. Also, it has kind of a spiky, like crown-like thing, and in place of a face, it has kind of floating modules, crystalline, spherical modules. And it also has behind it what I will refer to from art history as a mandorla, a kind of halo cape of light, which is a sort of light sail that you are very far from any sol, but it is efficiently somehow gathering energy. It is gigantic. It is, from the estimates of your any machines you have that do sort of very basic, sort of surveying, and from the little ship in which you are currently moving, it is the size of a moon. It is about 3,600 kilometers tall. And that is dead ahead. Surely was not there before, as far as you know from the dossier you got on Narm. There's really nothing of interest outside of Narm. Certainly not a giant dude. So, any reactions, first of all, on basically just turning left through a hole?
The first thing that Zeke thinks of is the avatar of, I think it was Hounded Saw, that kind of presented itself in data space when she was interacting with it kind of directly on an AI level. So she assumes that this is the avatar of Liquid Door that's asked to meet them here. And I guess the main feeling is like dread. Just like that ice cold like pit in the depth of your stomach, like approaching something incomprehensible.
That
Is there
makes
anything
total sense.
you want to say to your crew? Like, these are maybe they haven't seen all of the things you've seen on Narm.
Yeah, so I think she kind of turns to like Walt is apparently like bopping along to something that's like on his shoulder, maybe, or maybe humming to himself. And she says, looks like we've found it. This looks quite a bit like the avatars of other ships that we've encountered previously. So, and I'm fairly certain it wasn't here before. I feel like Amaga would have mentioned that probably. So, why don't we go investigate?
Is this God?
It almost certainly thinks that it is.
Then we shall treat it with the correct reverence.
Can I just clarify really quick what you think the correct reverence due to God the size of a planet is?
A lot.
I look forward to seeing that.
Excellent. As you approach, I will say, anyone looking at the controls and Voracious Wizardry, Ryan yourself, you do not receive any incoming pings. There is no threat detection. There's no like missile locked on. There's no warning. There's no playing of the hymn of the Grey Pyramid or the famous battle karaoke jazz fusion standard of the Red Pyramid. There is simply silence as you approach this vast thing. VW is fast and can speed up and get there in the blink of an eye, and that's trivial. But it is up to you what you collectively want to do here. It is just floating there, just hanging out.
I was gonna try and make a joke that wouldn't, I don't think, be funny to anyone else. I was gonna say we'll just start broadcasting Shark Tale to the thing, but you had.
It's not a Disney property. We can't clear it for this session.
I love the implication that we can get the rights for all of the other Disney properties that we've mentioned.
Listen,
but this one is beyond the pale.
I know a guy.
Disney himself is here.
Exactly.
Of course he has
Let's just ask him. I think that works. I'm sure Disney's lawyers will agree. Do we want to do anything as we are approaching?
Or ask VW to do anything. He'll help out in any way that you'd like.
I think I would say, ship, what is that? That god up ahead? Have you had dealings?
Sorry, get my voice back. I can't say that I have. I'm unfamiliar.
You would have received a signal from this ship earlier today by whatever standard, which read something like, Father of Behemoths guarantees a peace among the wraiths of Narm space, blah, 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 this not to be broken by threat of, and then like a long list of weapons and ways to die, railgun, guillotine, multi-phasmal time displacement, quartering, and it just goes on and on. It's very creative, and at the end, it's like signed, Anazumaat, father of behemoths.
Okay, and I can check in and recognize that who I am beholding is Anazumaat.
Yeah, the signal, the IP address or whatever was this 3,600 kilometer tall gent.
So, I may not have dealt with the behemoth father before, but this is the one. The unifying. I don't know exactly what the dogma that VW would have taken on, but sort of basically just reading off the message that you also would have received.
Can you make contact for us? Be respectful.
Certainly I can.
Great.
And yeah.
Then Ryan, I guess roll a d12, and
Okay.
You're trying to ping Anazumaat.
How's a 1 sound?
1 is perfect. You don't hear any replies. At least at first. You certainly don't hear any replies that you would expect, which would be either the red pyramid or gray pyramid hello world protocol, which is something like, again, a sped up version of two computers doing kind of a karaoke challenge with like doom metal. And instead of that happening in code, through some sort of exchange of whatever, lasers, whatever sort of transmission of data, you hear silence, and then eventually your systems just kind of alert with what I think the ship can only understand as time-space fuckery would be like the technical term in physics, but it suddenly appears as though Anazumaat is not just even larger, like contains larger spaces, but is more or less tending toward infinity. Like there is something wrong with the space around this wraith. But that's sort of the only thing that you get meaningfully signal-wise, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I would be explaining to whatever degree I can to the voidminers, but also maybe there are like viewports or something. Would that conflict with the visuals that they're able to see?
The visuals are quite placid. Yes, you have, if you have seen a sea cucumber, they have little dots along the side, so you can kind of make clear to the outer world. I mean, you were made of nanites, and you can change how those relate, to essentially allowing light to come through, and you can have them looking outside, and they're seeing what was described, and nothing is changing. There's no sort of menace that is visible. If you're still approaching, then you're still approaching at whatever speed you all have chosen. Anyone can roll, will to perceive from the outside. It is so large that it almost would make sense to either get closer or sort of tell me what it is you're sort of more interested in here.
Yeah. Well, it's getting bigger.
Hey, VW, can you change your shape into any shape?
What is it you have in mind?
Zeke's going to pull out from like their backpack that they have a spiky leather deg helmet, which was a oddment that Liquid Door gave them the last time that they visited, and ask like, can you sort of look like this?
I'll do my best. And
great.
Just sort of reshape the exterior to resemble the deg helmet.
Roll a 12 to use a score that we would not normally use since we haven't introduced yet, but for wraiths they have different scores than non-wraiths, and you have a score called Calm that relates to your ability to control your nanites, and that would allow you to change forms. So roll a 12, you need a 6 or better to change your shape without harming everyone inside you. Don't
Great.
roll a 1.
D12 it goes. I got a 4.
Great. So instead of looking like a little like motorcycle helmet for a dog with a spike on the top, I think you just look more like a sad boomerang or pancake. But everyone is sort of comfortable. Other than I would say 5 intersecting circles is now very constricted in terms of 3 space, height. Um, and you're sort of flying more awkwardly, not because of any. There's no air flow to worry about. I think it's more just like getting used to your new body. So not your best work, but you made a change.
But I think from inside, it's probably hard to tell, right?
Did it work?
I'd say it did.
Oh, amazing. Oh, okay, that's great. Well, maybe it will recognize this. This was something that I picked up the last time that we came in contact. It's very distinctive. So if you've managed to make the shape, more or less perfectly, then I think it will recognize it straight away.
Fantastic. And VW, I think, would just like ping out to be like, hey, Nazumat, recognize this?
Great. I would say maybe just maybe I don't know who has the better score here in reason. Jennifer, do you have a D12 reason? I forget. That's 10. I would say why don't you just go ahead and roll a D12 for this, and make this check using if Ryan, if you'll allow that.
Sure.
Let the player make the roll.
Oh, you want me to roll a D12?
Yes.
That's a 5. I have a +1 to reason. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Oh, that's an interesting thing. I gave you the boosted die type already. Yeah, I mean, I think you figure something out, which is it seems like the thing you're talking to is entirely devoid of meaningful signals. It is not doing anything. It is almost like it is dead, but it is clearly very much alive. It has energy coursing through it. You can tell that various systems are on, but it does not seem to be actively scanning, attempting to communicate, really receiving information in a meaningful way. It seems kind of denied its senses, which seems very different. If you recall, Liquid Door before was a little chunk of beautiful crystal the size of a skyscraper, and it didn't do a lot from the outside, but it was very active and was very aware and knew what you were doing when you approached, and sort of was, once you got its attention, more or less eloquent. This thing is just kind of hanging out in space.
So I think Walt would suggest to the room / the ship, perhaps we should touch the face of God.
Don't see why not, since we're here.
That's quote of the session right there, I think.
I want to see this on the quotes page under Walt Disney. Perhaps we should touch the face of God.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Where are you headed? Toward the face?
Yeah. I think that's the idea.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Okay.
I think also as we approach the face, I think 5 intersecting circles is going to be kind of interested in the shape and qualities of this halo of light that you said was around it, the sort of light cape situation. I think, honestly, just experiencing space again and the amount of light that's coming from all of the sort of pinpoints of distant stars is kind of a fascination for them to begin with. But also, yeah, this halo of light is very curious to them.
Great. Then this will be the approach montage, and I think there's sort of 4 of you in the scene, right? So if Ryan, if you'll allow me, I can say what I think the ship would do, which is
Definitely.
Again maybe like autonomic. So you can have other things that VW is doing consciously, but I think uncontrollably VW would have to use its understanding through either its last real war commands from either the Gray Pyramid or Red Pyramid to create like a cool chant. So I think it would be like the Mosura, like really elegant, beautiful chanting in the Gojira movies and the Godzilla classic kaiju movies, but it would be much more like metal and sped up and horrible sounding to you, and apparently also in, like, to us, a Scottish accent. But it would be sort of chanting like Anazumat. Meanwhile, 5 intersecting circles it's inspecting the energy mandorla. So could you roll will to perceive?
Yep.
And then while you're doing that, so you can roll now, but we'll come back to that.
Got a
what
6.
are... Oh, excellent, excellent. Then I will tell you something very important in a second. But this is all happening. This is like a 10-minute, you're like zooming toward its face. What are Walt and Zeke doing? And before I say the face, I should describe, on top of a sort of humanoid many-limbed body is a sort of teardrop-shaped, upside-down teardrop-shaped region of sort of quicksilver spikes that slowly come and go in a sort of wave-like but a little bit unpredictable pattern. And floating around them are 7 eye-like amber spheres that you realize aren't quite spheres. They are a sort of, they have a sort of ring around the middle. And these move, again, unpredictably. So for a while, they'll sort of be in a septagram formation, more or less in the same plane, and then they will sort of jump around, and some will be crown-like, and some will be, there'll be sort of 3, a triangular eye in the middle of the face. So it's not exactly stable, and they are big and dangerous-looking objects that could literally just destroy the ship you're in if they hit you. So that is the region you're headed toward. But yeah, what are you doing, Walt and Zeke?
So Walt, as we're approaching the face, is potentially preparing to interface via the ship nanite to nanite with repro, but not until physical contact. So Walt's kind of waiting for that to interface with God.
Excellent. So meet God, boop God, take over God's body. Cool. What's Zeke doing?
Zeke has taken out her small paper notebook and is sketching the face of God.
Excellent. I would say you should also roll then will to perceive as you kind of, inspect closely, right? And I think that makes sense then that Walt is not really perceiving as much as prepping, his own thing. So
I rolled a 4.
4, okay. So, I mean, to resolve them in reverse order then, with a 4, I think you see all the things I described and you're getting a good sense of the movements and the fact that they are almost, they're random on purpose. Like, they're not truly random. They are random and they are reactive to you, and you do get a sense that they are avoiding, like, they would not hit you. And that would be just some sort of automatic, movement away. And Walt, you feel very ready in whatever sort of idiosyncratic cosmology is in your head to become one with this being. I think this is in your mind maybe the night on Bald Mountain. Bald Mountain becomes Satan, right? 5 intersetting circles. You inspect the energy mandorla and realize it is not simply the fact that this is a great ultra wraith. You realize you do some quick math. You are math. There is no way that there is sufficient mass energy for this being to have simply appeared. It is, like a new planet has been born. And for that to have happened, there must have been an enormous amount of mass energy drawn from essentially folded up higher dimensions. There has been an unfolding here. And you are quite familiar. You're from, that's your neck of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
But that tends to be quite dangerous for 3-spacers in a variety of ways. It's sort of unstable, breaks their little local rules. They're sort of fragile. And often there are other beings who are not like the Hrine. They are not curious. They are conquest-oriented. And it is quite possible that in this case, something has happened that has not gone completely right. So this being looks physically immaculate for the design of these 3-spacers. Like, this is about as cool as the 3-spacers get, but it seems stuck. Seems like it's not doing much, and that sort of instant instantiation definitely had an effect on local space. And you are worried. I think you genuinely feel like this is probably bad news bears. You're in a dangerous region. That is no longer simply 3-space. You are also sort of heading back into a higher dimensional space, but not anything like Hrine space. You've arrived at the face region. You are floating. You are skimming a sea of quicksilver spikes, many kilometers tall, as you are being hovered around by 3 amber orbs the size of South America. The scales are, the gravity is actually dangerous. even just on its own, and the ship has to constantly keep correcting to not just basically fly into something.
A respectful touch, a caress, perhaps.
A caress. Walt, you wanted to use a power. Do you want to describe your intention as you get closer and closer, as you get within caressing distance here?
Yeah, absolutely. So what Walt would like to do is kind of send his nanites out to interface with God. He's not actually attempting to sort of take it over or anything like that. He's just trying to establish contact, so it's to induce any specific effect possible as per the wording of the power. So the effect he's trying to induce is to establish a line of communication between his nanites and the greater mind of this being, this God. And how that looks is, I guess, as the door, yeah, I guess he would say to the ship, "Ship, could you get me in the airlock and let me interface with the face of God?"
Yeah, so it just kind of like builds an airlock directly around wherever you're standing already.
Okay. And he's already in the enviro suit, so he says, "Open the doors."
And yeah, that last sort of membrane of nanites folds apart, revealing an opening for you to boop the snoot.
What does the surface look like, Wythe?
So at first, as you approached, it all looked very placid, other than the face, which constantly ripples with these quicksilver spikes. I imagine you're off to sort of the cheeks or something more stable, maybe a little less dangerous. So, you know, a kilometer-tall mountain of metal doesn't, like, just blast through the ship. But you see that all of it seems a little unstable, almost like it's having trouble holding itself together. And you realize there is some sort of contest happening, you feel, where the thing is having trouble not becoming ooze, just sort of protoplastic nanite ooze. You are able to sort of hover over it. You're able to boop it if you want to. I'm imagining a cool, like, you know, holding on to one side of the ship as it's opened out. And behind you, maybe the holographic cat that was adopted by the last crew is meowing at the door. And you extrude nanites and touch down. You know, you get within a couple meters, and the nanites sail down and form a kind of link.
Yeah, like a really creepy finger, like the Michelangelo kind of touching God, but it's just ridiculously long and bloody and disgusting.
It's a creepypasta, yeah, birth of Adam, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. What is the power? And let's do the power as written, and maybe something will happen.
So this is repro from nanofluidics. You send your nanites into an electrical device, can be a standard Teflon COM ancient radio or a sapient brain, to induce any specific effect possible. The host rolls will perceive against your reason or charisma, whichever is better, to detect the manipulation.
Great. What is the manipulation you would like to effect upon Inazuma Behemoth Father?
I mean, the manipulation is really to open up lines of communication. So
excellent.
Failing isn't necessarily a problem because that will still be awareness. It just might be a little less friendly, perhaps. So
yeah.
I'll do charm, which I've got a 12 in.
Excellent.
And I will... Oh, if I burn 3 grit, that's literally all my grit. But fuck it, I'll burn 3 grit. So I'm a 0 grit. And I rolled a 2, so I'm glad I burnt. That's 5 total, which is still not great.
But as you said, in this case, you worded it actually pretty much as best you possibly could. No matter what, you succeed, because you communicate with it if you succeed, and if you fail, you get its attention, which is what you wanted, right? So I will say on a 5, it's sort of partial success. Maybe you don't communicate with it and open up a clear line of communication, but you know that you've had the effect of causing it to essentially freak out and do something, because right now it's kind of doing nothing. It's just doing, again, the equivalent of like autonomic, nervous, just breathing, but not doing anything. You reboot, a system that begins screaming at you very loudly in late Tefnian that it is being rebooted, screaming across, again, various channels. So piping directly into the ship's head, more or less. Somehow, probably to Ryan, you just kind of see glyphs crowding your sense of, being in space. And then maybe the nanites begin to kind of dissipate, and you feel pain, I think, Walt. And maybe in Walt's mind, this comes across very differently. So instead of like late Tefnian command code, cool heads up display, like Minority Report vision, it's more like you just have a crazy BoJack Horseman psychedelic, like, oops, too much ketamine, like vision. But you tell me, like, it was Jiminy Cricket, like, explaining this. You have rebooted the firewalled amphi-intelligent emotionoid patacognitive little mind, or FAPAL, which is a local backup of Liquid Door's mind. And it is streaming instructions to you that it needs help physically severing itself from... It describes a situation in very complex math that is more or less meaningless to you, Walt. I mean, you could roll reason if you want to understand, but it is describing something bad that has happened to it, and this local backup from the split second before something bad happened is asking you for help physically, physically taking control of its body and solving this problem. It's really demanding. It's not really asking. It's asking the way, like, the Emperor asks a serf to do something. Would you be so kind?
We have our messages from on high. Sorry. I know the voice is changing every time. Well, yes, we must save God's corporeal form. I suppose this is Jesus. I think Jesus needs our help. Maybe are you the Holy Spirit, Mr. Circles? I think Jesus needs our help resurrecting or something. I'm a bit lost with the mathematics.
I'm not a holy anything. The circles are filled in. But I can help.
I just wanted to ask, based on what we know about Operation Bigger Upperfish, the idea was that Liquid Door would create something scary to keep the peace in Narm. Like, basically, Zeke is wondering, is this just what it is, like, has it just done what it is supposed to do, or did something go wrong at some point? Like, is this what we asked for in the first place?
Great question. Would you like to use reason to try to use some sort of, use the ship you're in to reach out and, access some sort of archive? You know that there is now a backup. There's at least a partial intelligence operating, going through the vast ship.
Yeah, definitely. I'm getting low on grit, but I'm going to burn 3 anyway. Because why not? Oh, I just gave myself 18 instead of 8. That's how you get it back.
Add some ones and zeros.
Johnny, stop it. Shush. All right. I rolled a...
I'm taking notes.
I rolled a 5, and that was plus 4 again. So 9.
9. Great. Okay. Yes, so the firewalled amphi-intelligent emotionoid patacognitive little mind, or FAPAL, basically says something to the equivalent of, hello, I am become Behemoth Father. You are here to help me. Congratulations! And sort of explains that in order to basically complete Operation Bigger Upperfish, I can't remember the exact check, but I believe in that venture someone got like a 16 or something to charm Liquid Door.
Yeah.
It was Hal.
It was Hal, right? Yeah, okay. So it said the late Tefnian equivalent, the very late Tefnian equivalent of hold my beer, and it disappeared into the Escher-esque, and it found a source of matter energy that would allow it to create enough weapons to destroy literally anything, and there would be no way that any of the local fleet could oppose it. And it would stand there and just keep the peace and continue doing curious, interesting science, cultural stuff that it likes and the company likes. Win-win. However, in order to do that, it had to, access higher dimensions, etc., ran into some sort of problem there. It's unclear exactly, but as you're communicating with the FAPAL, you see streaming out of various orifices of the moon-sized ship humanoid, you see essentially what look like late Tefnians. You know, that you see 4 and 6 armed tall posthumans with all kinds of various technical, wire tattoos of nanites, streaming out towards you, and they occasionally sort of glitch out and teleport and reappear closer and closer. They all seem quite dead, and Hardvac has frozen and mangled their flesh, frozen, boiled, mangled, and yet the nanites are cracking through it and making them continue to sort of float toward you, after initially propelling themselves, and often they are literally teleporting toward you. So it seems like the hull of Anazumat is sort of its former crew is now alive again in some parody version of liveliness, and at minimum it seems like the sense you're getting is it made a deal with something in the Esherask. And that thing has more or less taken hold of its body here, and its intelligence is more or less trapped there. So the Little Mind is asking if you feel up to the task of obliterating its enemies and freeing, etc. It goes on and on. It gives a bunch of royal titles it's just invented, because remember, it's not actually an Azumat, or it wasn't until today. But it asks if you want help, if you're going to help, free the Behemoth Father from these pesky parasites.
That's how I feel.
Hello. Are you picking up the signal?
Hold, please.
Literally putting the god emperor of all all ships on hold.
Just a moment.
Girl from Ipanema place. Exactly. Yeah.
VW, do you have any weapons?
No, I can't say that I do.
Okay, I have one gun. It's asking us to, I think, get rid of, a few minor, pests that are bothering it, which are, and she just gestures at the, mutated nanite zombies coming towards them.
There are 56 parasitized walkers sort of teleporting closer and closer to VW, which presumably starts to evade them by moving backwards, right, at some point.
Ah, the animators are here, finally!
Hello? Is my signal somehow being blocked? This is the firewalled, anti-intelligent, emotional, and cognitive little mind, or FAPAL, a local backup of Liquid Door. You would know as...
Zeke's trying to figure out how to mute her comm.
To meet you, but we're having some difficulties. Please give us a moment to consider.
All of your systems resolve into the late Tefnian equivalent of a giant Y and a giant N, and a question mark sort of hovers between them.
This is what we've asked for. We just have to figure out how to do it.
The Co wants us to help, yeah?
Yes.
Then we help.
Zeke
we
presses
must strike
yes.
down the demons.
Okay, Zeke presses yes on the monitor inside.
She doesn't know what else to do, so she just touches it with her hand, yeah.
Voracious Wizardry loses control of its own steering and flies sort of straight down toward the nearest thigh. And you see that the legs and arms are breaking off, and they're, to be clear, all of the parasitized former crew who'd been in stasis, long dead, of Liquid Door, are coming from the body. The 4 limbs, multiple arms, and a couple of huge legs separate, and they begin to coalesce around each other in a kind of dance of whales. And they form up a new frigate with your little ship at the center. You are now in a ship comprising multiple independent sort of ships. And you are now using, thanks to the firewalled amphi-intelligent emotionoid patacognitive little mind, you are able to take command of this part of an Azumat and use it as a ship. However, you see from within something very bad is happening to that main torso. It is no longer simply rippling, and the face is no longer moving with sort of beautiful, weird corporate art style waves. It is basically just ripping apart as amethyst crystals shatter through its middle and kind of rip outward, crushing its sort of ribs apart. The ship splinters, buckles, pieces fly off, and you see silently, of course, there is something rising from within it, and it almost looks like a giant sarcophagus of amethyst, of violet crystal, vaguely in a sort of squid-like shape, but that might be your mind, humanoid programming trying to make patterns here. And it looks like the middle of the body is forming a sort of ship entity. It looks like it's going to attack you, is the only thing I can say that really makes any sense in English in our time and space. You, however, are in a big-ass ship. So the big ending of this venture is you get to do naval combat with essentially an old one. So we're going to test out some rules here, the surprise play test, if everyone is down. And Ryan and Jesse, you get to be the lover, the old one. And the rest of you get to be an Azumat. Or, an Azumat's thighs and arms.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Hell yeah.
Great.
Perfect.
You have 5 scores. There are 3 of you. So instead of each person having 1 score or 2 scores, you'll have to just divvy them up. But the idea is each of you can really only command one system. This is very complicated. This is naval combat at close to the speed of light the entire time, using hundreds of weapons at once. And your ships can change shape. So we're resolving this into 5 scores, and we'll take turns. We're going to roll initiative, all that stuff like we normally do, but we're imagining it on a truly epic scale. The ships you're in are hundreds of kilometers long. So the 5 scores you have are Berserk, Calm, Combat, Movement, and Ultra. Berserk is your melee attack, which you can make as many times as you want, but every time you do, the other side can make an attack back against you. But in order to do that, they must make a calm check. And basically, if you fail a calm check, you lose stability points. If you make successful berserk attacks, you degrade toughness, you do damage. Calm is basically what your resistance sort of roll. And when you fail a calm check, you lose stability. If you run out of stability, you die. If you run out of toughness, you die. Combat is your normal missile attack, any grappling attacks, and any hacking, and that deals damage by rolling that dice. Movement is your dodge, your initiative, just like in the rest of the system. And Ultra is your limit break super ultimate attack, which does damage to stability or toughness, your choice. It costs stability to use, but because you can target stability, you could, in theory, destabilize the system. So even if the nanites are okay, they're not able to work together, and you've kind of taken control of them. So those are your 5 scores. So can everyone take command of 2 of those, and there'll be a little bit of overlap here. And I'll put them in the chat for you. This is a live playtest. Again, we're going into emergency live playtest mode. Oh, I have to do it one at a time. I apologize. Oh no, that sort of stacks like that. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Do our own scores or grit or anything come into this, or do we only use the ship scores?
You will be using the ship scores, and I will put them in the chat one at a time, so it's a little easier to read. And the GMs, you have the doc open, right? And you can see your scores, which are quite different, but using the same system. So in a second, we're gonna roll movement to determine initiative, and then whoever is in charge of that system, right? Whoever is telling the ships what to do, you will be rolling movement for everyone. Get it? And then when you're attacking, so you'll each get a turn, but you're each only doing one dimension of this giant mass of ships' activities. So you are a Gestalt thing. You can also, we'll give you a moment to describe what you think this looks like, because I think it's very fun if you sort of give input, and I think these are more or less doing what you want. The little mind is asking for your help as warriors summoned by an Azumat. in a split second before it sort of lost its ability to act in 3 space. One of you is Walt Disney, or thinks he is, so I don't know. Maybe you think this looks very different. So again, maybe there's kind of competing forms happening. I think that's part of the fun. Who is in charge of Berserk?
I can take it if no one else wants it. I'm basically happy with anything but calm, canonic for character reasons.
I'm gonna pitch for 5 intersecting circles being in charge of calm, Walt being in charge of berserk and maybe combat, and then Zeke being in charge of move and alt. Does that make sense?
Happy with that?
Excellent.
Yep.
All right. Well, then whoever's in charge of movement, you're going to roll to kick us off to determine initiative. And Jesse, Ryan, are y'all set up with the lever, which you can again take over, and now it can change. It can continue to evolve very rapidly. So you can describe it basically differently, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm rolling a d10 for movement for initiative, yeah?
Yes.
That's a 4.
4. Okay. And Jennifer, on that roll, how does Ezekiel command this bizarre armada, and what does it look like under Ezekiel's command? How does Zeke kind of make it work?
I think when she commands it, like it kind of changes. If you just for flavor, it kind of changes shape sort of rapidly, like kind of ripples a bit, like it spends a bit of time as like this sort of like strangely rippling just like orb in kind of like with waves on the surface, and then kind of re-resolves itself back into kind of a shape that kind of has limbs and weapons and moving through space, but kind of maybe throws off some of the pursuers for a bit just by like kind of these strange, unexpected like movements and changes in shape.
Excellent. So this rippling armada gets going, and it's moving. It's still very fast compared to any lesser technology, but more or less slow compared to its own maximum ability to kind of haul ass, using a technical term. Ryan, Jesse, is someone roll initiative for the lever, the old one?
I rolled a 2.
Excellent. Ryan, what does it look like when the lever enters 3 space in entirety and is just seeking to completely take over the situation, take over this body, and use it for its own unknown purposes?
Jesse, feel free to embellish, but I think sort of like it snaps to 3 space, right? There's like a lot of what seems to be empty space one moment, and just like almost feels like there's a sonic boom as the edges of the lever hit 3 space, exerting like much different silhouette, as I think just like a knot of crystals, stretching out into sort of the like umbrella shape of like a Dumbo squid seen from below. Jesse, you're...
That's exactly right. But at the same time, you can tell that there has been always around the lovers this mist in a sort of spiraling around it that somehow is the same thing as this squid, and is sort of shining its way around. I'm sorry, I said the lovers. I meant the behemoth father. It's sort of sparkling its way around it and coming in and out of 3 space.
Excellent. So it's taking a while to kind of fully be here, and not here, but in some sort of tighter, higher dimension where it's effectively invisible and cannot affect us. So you all act first. So it's your turn. Each of you could take an action here. just going to say that. And you have different things you can do. If you attack with Berserk, you open yourself up to a counterattack with combat. You can also keep attacking with Berserk. If you attack with Ultra, you need to spend stability. Attacking with combat is just like a one and done. You roll combat, and your opponent rolls movement to dodge. So you're essentially trying to wear down either its at the physical makeup of the ship or its ability to cohere and work together as you're streaming around each other near the speed of light, essentially firing laser cannons, railguns, whatever you describe it how you want, right?
So how should we do turn order between players with regards to the ship? Is there an order in which we would choose to do actions, and what's the kind of the action economy and
that is a great question. I think it is up to you. If you want, you could roll player initiative, like your character initiative to or movement to determine just like how fast you react in the scene compared to each other. But it really doesn't matter. We'll just let all of you act, and then the GM, since you got a 4 and they got a 2. I also like popcorn, yeah. So if you want to act and then just call on somebody else, that's fine with me.
I guess my question is there anything I can do with Calm that isn't reactive? Is there something I can do to like shore up, or is it something that has to be in response to an action that the opponent makes?
Great question. I think if you, this is all being tested. I think you would roll Calm to regain stability.
Mm-hmm.
You are currently, I think, at your max stability. So when
Sure,
you lose
great.
stability, you can choose to roll Calm instead and gain that much stability back. Yeah.
Okay, cool. 5 intersecting circles just says to the other two, standing by.
Okay, I think Walt then at this stage will say, "Oh, pirates off the starboard bow! We must fire the cannons!" And we'll roll combat. So he thinks he's lighting a physical fuse. What's actually happening is the ship is sending a barrage of micro missiles that are kind of computer guided, but he has no idea that that's what's happening. He thinks he's just shooting a cannon. And combat is D12. Here's my 12. That's an 8.
8.
for
Okay.
combat.
GMs, whoever is movement, you have an 8 coming at you. You need a 9 or higher on movement, or else you are hit by this barrage.
Great. I am movement, I think. So I'm just rolling straight. D12, I landed on a 5.
5. You are hit. So you're going
I
to
am
take decom damage. So Harry, roll com again to determine the damage.
Come on, behind. Oh, another 8.
Another 8. Okay, that's 8 off your toughness.
Okay.
And I do think there is, so when Walt is imagining sort of old classic, early modern Age of Sail big cannons moving back and forth, I do think the Armada, in the most high-tech way imaginable, forms cannons. And it's, yes, we're going to be firing essentially trillions of tiny drones to sort of penetrate and degrade the enemy. But it does look for a moment like a cartoon cannon, the side of a cartoon pirate ship. Jennifer, what does Zeke do this round?
You said that 5 intersecting circles can use Calm to regain stability.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So the thing that makes sense to me is to use Ultra, which costs stability, and then 5 intersecting circles can use its turn to regain that stability. If Johnny, you're okay with that.
Absolutely. Go for it.
All right, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to roll Ultra, which is D12.
Great. This is your super attack, so you are also defining what is Anazumaat's super attack.
Oh my god, okay. I rolled a 10 on the D12.
Excellent. So that is not contested. It just happens. So you're rolling your super attack, and you're inflicting that damage to either stability or toughness, but it does cost you D6 stability every time. So
Okay.
you have to say 2 things. One is, are you degrading stability or toughness? Or 3 things, I guess. the d6 that comes out of your group stability.
Yeah. For stability versus toughness, I don't have a good sense of that yet. Do either of you want to target one or the other?
We've already hit toughness with combat, so let's take a crack out of stability and see what that does for us.
All right, let's go for stability then.
Okay.
Do you want me to roll again? Sorry, I'm trying to process
no.
rolls
How
as
much
quickly as
damage? You
possible.
did 10, right?
Oh, you're right. It just happens. Yeah, so I rolled 10. But
Right.
I'm going to roll a d6 for using our stability for that.
Yes.
I rolled a 4.
Excellent. Okay, noted. I'll note all that down. And then, most importantly, and no pressure, but what does it look like when you use your ultra attack? What is Anazumaat, Behemoth's father's ultra?
I think there's that like that kind of reduction back into like a very smooth, almost like pearl-like shape, and then you have this like opening of like a flower inside a flower inside a flower with these kind of like blades coming out of it, and then this like long sort of like narrow laser that just fires directly into the opposing ship.
Excellent. So the very narrow flower laser single point of just cosmic foam tears through and rips apart a bunch of the lover. It does a ton of damage to stability that would, for a lesser craft, for a normal Tefnian frigate, perhaps cause it to decohere explosively. Everyone inside would just be flying through space as the ship's nanites raced away and formed their own, sort of beings, created their own little ecosystem, and fled the field of battle. In this case, it is hard to tell if you've, the lover is extremely stable looking, which I'll leave to Jesse and Ryan to describe. But you've done the 10 damage. We've recorded it. At that point, if you want, Johnny, you can roll to regain. You can roll calm and regain that much stability, so you could go back up to full.
Rolling a d8. And that's a 6.
Okay, so you're back at full. With that, so this is all kind of happening, split second differences. Ryan, Jesse, what do each of you do on this turn?
I think my move is going to be to use calm to regain stability.
And what does the lever look like as it tries to bring itself fully into 3 space and remain coherent?
To some degree, I think it's sort of the mist or least corporeal part that Jesse described is condensing into angular like facets and layering back on top of the crystals which make up the umbrella, basically.
Excellent. Very clear.
So I'll roll d12. And I got a 4.
Okay, you regain the 4 points of stability. Jesse, what is happening as the what was it? The latent mist crystals form the thing on the umbrella. I don't remember, but it happens.
Yeah, well, it's perfect because then I'm gonna go berserk. So this works as a multi-melee attack. Is that correct?
So you can just keep attacking. You roll once, and you just keep doing it one at a time. So when you roll berserk, you attack. Basically, this is some kind of close range attack you'll define, and your opponent can, as a free action, roll combat to hit you back. But they first must make a 6+ calm check. And if they fail a calm check, they lose stability. So there's a gambling component for them. They can also just take the hit if they don't want to lose stability there.
Okay. Well, so the mist stabilizes itself in some sort of crystalline woo way, and then shoots out. Oh, that's a 1.
That's a 1. All right, you've been attacked for. Wait, sorry. Do you want to keep describing it, Jesse?
The mist shoots out, and then just sort of spirals back, I guess, and trips.
Well, what does the attack look like when it is successful? Like, what does the threat look like? You know, do we have any sense, or is it just like it just piffs?
Oh, not yet.
Excellent. Okay,
Because
well,
we haven't hit it yet.
team, that is technically so. It's 1 point of damage to your toughness. Do you just take it, and do you want to try to counterattack as a free action, which you have to first make a calm check in order to do?
What's the vibe, team?
Get him.
Return fire.
All right, rolling calm. We got
Rolling
a D8.
calm.
We need a 6. That is a 1 as well.
Oh no. Okay, you lose D10 points of stability for failing the calm check. So the attack, you lose 1 point of toughness and D10 points of stability from this attack, basically.
All right, shall I roll D10?
Yes, please.
That's a 5.
5. Okay, you have plenty of both, but you're right. You're sure 33 stability and 61 toughness. Okay.
Do we get to keep attacking?
If you want to keep rolling berserk, you can keep rolling berserk.
Let's
What do you think,
go. Yeah.
So the mist swirls up. 4.
Okay, 4 points of toughness are coming off. So what does this look like? So this is at least powerful enough to do some damage before we know if there's a counterattack or not.
Yeah, so there are all these like dead former residents, right? Like floating in space.
Yeah, all of the former sleepers within Liquid Door are just like floating around, and they're just basically walkers serving the lover at this point.
So these like shining like beams like rip them out and throw them back to try to like hit holes in the hull.
So people missiles. So you're accelerating the sort of nanite reanimated corpses at close to the speed of light, like people torpedoes into the side of an Azumat. Terrifying.
As far as the lover cares, they're rocks.
Excellent. So it's 4 points of toughness. You can again counterattack, or you can choose to just take it and move on.
I think this time we take it.
Yeah, it's a 6+ on a D8. It's pretty risky.
Yeah, seems that way. Seems that way.
Okay. Should there be? This is also good to know. Should there be a boosting mechanic where you can like burn something to boost rolls?
Yeah, I kind of miss grit at this point.
Grit,
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, maybe you could burn. Maybe I don't know. GMs, let me know if we think players should be able to burn character grit here, or if that's too unfair to you. But
no, I like that thematically, at least.
You make sense, right? Yeah.
It's very Power Rangers of the whole. We've got to use our fighting spirit to muscle your way through it. Yeah.
It's the moment in, say, Voltron or Macross when all of the overlapping panels of the character portraits in their chairs hit the screen.
Excellent. Well, I think, Jesse, so maybe, and that's another rule, do we think Berserk should literally go on forever, or it's like until you just decide to take the damage, opposing team, and then it sort of ends? Because then that makes sense, too, if we want to, just for speed. I don't know. Unless, Jesse, you want to just keep going.
Well, I think gameplay-wise, it makes sense once they take the damage, but personality-wise, I think they would just keep doing it. But
yeah, I hear you. They're like evil aliens. They just keep going. Okay, then it is back to Team Behemoth Father. The Little Mind is trying to do its best to coordinate all these activities, and you all have a little more sense of the commands, whatever that looks like. Again, I'm picturing you're all in chairs but really cool chairs, and you're moving very fast, and it would probably be very uncomfortable, but you're getting a little more used to it, and you all have some equivalent of that heads-up display helper, the Fey-Pal, the miniaturized version of Liquid Doors AI, guiding you as hundreds and hundreds of kilometers of ship on either side kind of burst, left, right, forward, above, below. You're spinning, railguns are firing. What do you want to do?
And maybe Voracious Wizardry is just commentating at this point. This is fun.
Yeah, the little carrier, the little troop carrier, finally is involved in naval combat. Perhaps for the first time in its career, we don't know. Maybe it saw battle 5,000 years ago.
So just reading the rules, if we make a berserk attack, do we have to take toughness damage in order to attack?
No, I'm going to cut that just for speed. There feels like there's a lot of back and forth with berserk, and I want to simplify that. So nobody has to spend that. We'll just keep going.
Okay.
Let's hit him hard. I'm ready to brace.
Okay. It's so I think Walt will say, "Oh, all right then. I suppose it's time for Mickey to come out and play." And you see, and what would have been, you won't actually see it as the Where the World skin, because I don't have any grit to do that as the character, but the ship, as it manifests the berserk attack, looks like an absolute horror show version of like a Mickey Mouse. Like, is it like an early cartoon? Is it like the kind of Disney World things with the big heads? It's like none and all of the above, and the most horrific thing with kind of dangling flesh you've seen. So he kind of makes the ship take the form of a kind of a deadly, horrific Mickey with very sharp claws just swiping out.
Great. What are you rolling? What are you rolling to hit here?
I will roll my berserk. That is I think that's a 16. Yeah, 16.
16. Okay. So 16 toughness damage to team GMs here.
Dang.
You can, so that just happens, but you can again roll calm, and if you get a 6 or higher, then you automatically inflict decombat back.
Okay. Here goes. I got a 5.
Then you also lose D10 stability. So you lose 16 toughness and D10 stability.
2 stability.
Great, 2 stability. Okay, so you're very stable. These fuckers are very stable. All right.
No grit anywhere being used. Is that correct?
Can GMs burn grit players? Is that fair or unfair? They are GMs.
Never mind.
I mean, if it makes it any fairer, I also don't have any grit because I spent it pissing around. So, and I'm level 1. So.
Yeah, right. Level 1. I also love that. You were like unfrozen and sent on this mission, and now you are co-commanding an armada hundreds of kilometers long of endlessly reforming ultra-intelligent weapons. Excellent. Well, that was only one action, right? So who else is going to act? We have Zeke and 5 intersecting circles.
Are we down stability right now? I think we're below max, right?
You have 33 of 38 stability.
All right. I'm going to try and reconstitute a little bit of what we've got
Do you
going
want me
on.
to, if I roll ultra first?
Oh, sure.
Then I think it's possible that you could recover that and more.
Yeah, maybe. That sounds good. At least go below what I could recover with like a max roll, yeah.
Yeah, I think
Great.
so. Sorry, if you don't mind.
Of course, yeah, go for it.
I just wanted to ask what I would roll movement for again. Do I need that for anything?
To dodge attacks from combat, just normal combat attacks.
From combat,
and
okay.
for initiative and grappling. So if you were like, I'm gonna, like, again, TBD, I don't know how these things interact otherwise, but like somehow grab a specific thing, we're making it up. We're making it up here.
So we would have to roll combat to grapple, but then movement to avoid being grappled? Is that...
Yeah, you'd roll movement to dodge an attack either way, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, grappling would be combat. You're right. So movement would dodge anything.
Okay, so only if, sorry, I'm very sorry, but only if we get hit by combat, then I need to roll movement to dodge. Otherwise, I won't use it.
Currently as written, yeah. And again, we could change this. Just trying to make it somewhat different from the normal fighting because your ships.
I'd love to like reposition or reform or something. But
yeah, what do you want to do? I guess that's the question.
What do we want to do, team?
Is there a move roll we could make that puts us in like a strategically advantageous position? Something where we have to force them to roll combat instead of rolling berserk, let's say. We get like out of melee range or something like that.
I think that makes sense. You could roll movement, and if you get a 6 or better, you get out of range of berserk. So they have to use combat or ultra. They can't use berserk.
It's like evasive maneuvers, but preemptively, I guess.
Right.
Although, do we want to try and bait them into using the ultra laser? Is that a good idea? All right, I guess we're gonna find out. Let's do it. The alternative is to get in really close so that they can't hit us with something big. Any preferences?
We're still, because they tried to counterattack on the last one, we can still keep going with berserk. So I'd rather, certainly before we get out of range, to keep swiping.
Oh, do you want to go again?
Yeah, then you should go again. Yeah, that makes the most sense, actually. So you're still, before you're both out of berserk range, let's finish all your berserk attacks and see how this goes.
Mickey's mad! 18 on the berserk roll.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. They're almost gone. So let's see. That's sort of 8, right? Great. So again, Ryan, if you want, you can roll calm, and if you get a 6 or better, you automatically inflict decalm damage back. Defensive systems go off.
I don't know. Jesse, what do you think?
So what are the options here?
Because if I miss, I also lose stability. But I have a 50-50.
Can we regain toughness? Okay.
I'm gonna counterattack.
Okay, great. Roll calm. You
Go for
can't
it.
regain toughness in the middle of combat as currently.
But make a battle cry as Sean Connery.
Oh, well, I'm on the other side now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, what does the lover sound like? What happens to everyone's brainwaves as this attack proceeds?
Jesse? I think I'd have to defer to you because you were the closest to the one who has played the lover before.
That's pretty good.
Or a Joestar might be right.
Yeah. I'm not one for accents. Just fucking him.
Okay, so here goes my calm, and I got a 3.
Oh,
Jesus
wow.
Christ. I cannot roll with this D12. I'm switching sets.
All right. Well, you take another D10 damage to stability as well.
Okay.
And technically...
So that's 4.
All right. So you have plenty of stability, but you have very little toughness left. And technically, I think as rules as written, Harry could just keep going. Although maybe Berserk should only be twice in a row because it feels very OP right now.
Without the toughness penalty for attacking, yeah. I think
maybe, and it should cost toughness. Maybe that makes sense, yeah.
Didn't we say that once toughness gets hit, we move on to the...
It gets hit automatically, as written, but we'll change it. I'm just going to note overpowered. So, Harry, what do you think? Do you want to? We'll just move on from this round, and I think we still have actions left. So it still could be the end, but I think we're and unless anyone strongly disagrees, we'll say that maybe twice in a row is quite a lot for that power. And
maybe we need to choose it instead of combat as well, rather than being able to do both. I don't know, just for not having.
Yeah. I mean, I want to give everyone stuff to do, but
I'm both, so I'm in this case.
Zeke and Circles.
I'll use the ultra laser again. If Circles, you want to regain stability after that.
Ready to shore up.
Okay. And Zeke, I think you could visibly see their toughness is degraded. I think Little Mind is recommending that you target toughness.
Okay.
With your ultra.
I rolled a 10.
Excellent.
On the
in that case, so I think this is where we get all three of you montage. The camera is showing all three of you to all of you. So it's Ryan. It's using voracious wizardry, in which technically you are kind of. But the Little Mind, the Fey-Pal algorithm is connecting you all, and you're all seeing all three of your sites. Like you can see through your 3-channel vision, basically. What does it look like when all of you at the same time do a cool thing and command the ship to do its ultra in the coolest way possible to eliminate this old one and prevent it from entering 3 space?
Any thoughts from the crew?
I'd say what it looks like to Walt is different to what it looks like to everyone else.
I was going to suggest that we can sort of reform the face that Liquid Door kind of chose for this originally, because I think it was pulled apart from the inside by the thing trying to merge from it. So try to recreate that. And if anybody objects to this, that's completely fine. But I just wanted to give it enormous hands and just smash the crystal. Just crush it into dust.
Like Master Hand from Smash Brothers,
Excellent. So it's at first it's the stillness of the origins of the universe in the broadly conceived Eastern tradition. There's a kind of lotus flower blossoming upon a sea of quantum probability, and we see the sort of face of God reforming. We see the sort of it's androgynous, right? It does not possess individual characteristics. It doesn't even have sort of eyes or orifices per se. It is shards of reality. And then it just makes big old giant smashy wrestler hands out of all those ships, and all of that matter is moving at very close to the speed of light and just shatters the amethyst pylons of impossible unfolded ultra space, all of the dimensionality that has been brought into 3 space, threatening its stability locally, and who knows in what other ways, has just been erased. It's just been destroyed in an explosion of energy. This is similar to a star going nova. Waves of energy literally knock you back. I mean, you're now riding sort of space weather back toward Narm, and it is blindingly bright. Jesse, Ryan, any thoughts on, again, if their brainwaves pick up any signals as this, whatever this being was that had sort of developed a relationship with / parasitized this very advanced Hulk, what its sort of last thought in 3 space for now, or whatever is, what does it say?
Jesse, I think you're muted.
Sorry. I think you get the sense of, oddly, confusion and a little bit of sadness, which doesn't really make sense, but you get the sense that Liquid Door and this being were really quite connected.
I like that.
Yeah, like a sense of rejection.
This is just a breakup, guys. It's just a breakup
Fuck,
story.
this sucks.
Just another one. Why do we keep doing this?
Why do we do it to ourselves? With that, the firewalled, amphi-intelligent, emotionoid, patacognitive Little Mind cedes its grasp on the Armada, and slowly but surely the intelligence that you knew as Liquid Door floods back into 3 space as best it can, released in the sort of white hole after having been, pulled into this other dimensionality. It may be changed. It is hard to say what a sort of godlike machine intelligence feels about this experience, this breakup, but it is now in command of itself. And you are now in your own little ship as its body sort of pulls apart and begins to reform a different shape than before in front of you. It is still very hot. There is just dangerous plasma flying around space, and you are still moving backwards at speed. Would someone like to make? I guess it makes sense if someone feels they're like the pilot, just a movement check as they sort of grab the controls. Ryan, I guess you could also roll, but again, you're kind of a GM, so I want to see if the players want to do it here. This might be the final check of the game, by the way. Then we'll do a little quick denouement.
Are you happy for me to roll movement, everybody? Is that mine or the? It doesn't.
What's your movement?
Great question. D12.
Then I would, let's go with that. It would be the same.
Okay. Oh, nope, that's cocked. 8.
8, great. You gain control and you're able to avoid any dangerous space weather, perhaps again with Voracious Wizardry's help if you're sort of working together. And if you want to...
Good moves!
You can enter the safety of Narm. You can go back inside through the hole. And the hole is now permanent, by the way. The probabilities have collapsed. The hole was caused by the nova of Anazumaat. The hole is now there, and Liquid Door is now outside instead of inside. And these are just realities. These are facts that have always been. But going inside will shield you from that radiation, and basically the effect will be the equivalent of third-degree burns on the outside of Voracious Wizardry, but the rest of you will be fine inside. So I don't know, Ryan, if you want to make insert joke here about sun tanning and Sean Connery, but it hurts. Back inside Narm, you're within range if you wanted to try to contact Liquid Door. You could also try to head back to the Stiffworks and just go back and report. It's been a weird day. I know we have to wrap up, but I just want to give the players and GMs, I guess, if we just want to go in the round, final thoughts on what, final montage of what the voidminers do here as they realize they need to report back ultimately.
I think 5 Intersecting Circles just takes one last look out at everything that's beyond the hole in Narm, looks at space, looks at the sort of reconstituting body of this, and sort of glances at it in 3 space, and then sort of takes another look through the Escheresk as well to sort of see if there's any ripples or repercussions of this from 3 space that have occurred in higher dimensions as a result of what just happened.
I'm sure there are, and I'm sure you see something, and I'm going to leave that to especially Jesse, but generally the other GMs. But Jesse has the final of these 3 big ventures coming up, so perhaps we'll have to get back to you on that one, Jesse. I don't want to put you on the spot, but a little foreshadowing of the next thing. And Circles, we'll tell you. Johnny, we'll message you, and you could decide if you want to tell the others.
Sure.
Ex post facto.
Mm-hmm.
All right, great.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. If you want to go ahead, Ryan, that's fine.
No, you're good.
I do think that Zeke wants to ping Liquid Door. They've spoken before, and she just send a status update, "Hey, are you okay?" kind of message.
I think you'd get back at first nothing, and then a kind of trite reply from the concierge AI that's slowly being reintegrated to the main AI that would be the equivalent of "Thanks for asking, that's considerate." And then eventually, maybe days later, you would get a long, thoughtful reply describing the original aims of the Fruit of Hell project and the whole daughter-sister lineage of the various meta-mothers that were required to be complexified over and over again, generation through generation, to get to the nanites that eventually would be Liquid Door, this window into all possibility. And Gurin Kur, Liquid Door, Fruit of Hell, as it calls itself, not doesn't thank you because that would be sort of beneath it, but it's the equivalent of thanking you for essentially saving its life, its selfhood. And it realizes that the twin side of being able to see all possibility is being tempted to essentially go with to make bad choices just to see what happens. So it has learned a lesson. That I think you can safely say that. However, I think to Jesse's point, it is very sad, and it has lost the ability to learn from a being of enormously alien intelligence, purely alien intelligence. Even though it recognizes that was not a healthy relationship. There needed to be boundaries set. Those boundaries were set by giant Mickey Mouse claw hands destroying that motherfucker in a giant big old Nova smack. But boundaries set, nonetheless. Anyone else? Final thoughts?
Yes, I think as they sort of fly back, Walt kind of claps Zeke on the shoulder and says, "Good piloting, Willie. Good piloting. Very good, very good." And tries to, asks. He says, "Ship, can you connect me with a channel to God, please?"
Yeah. So it might take a back and forth first, but Voracious Wizardry will oblige because eventually he thinks you're just trying to say liquid door, right?
Yep.
But if it's there's a layer of confusion because I think maybe at first he's like, wait, the one that we killed or the one that that helped us? But you can be connected and talk to liquid door.
So he says, "Oh my, our father, we have defeated the hordes of evil and the devils. What great works have you for us next?"
I think you get the same polite concierge authored reply, and then days later, Walt, when you're back in the go down in your cot, you get beamed onto, presumably you're like sketching or something on the equivalent of an iPad, and you are shown the most fabulous scenes of a sort of Hieronymus Bosch-like new universe where all the great possibilities could merge and learn from one another. And you see that Gurankura has great plans for Narm and for the unified fleet, and that you will all become sort of cyborgically more than post-human, more than post-ship, more than Wraith. But you will move beyond these categories and become kind of an infinite dance of nanites and cells in space. It's beautiful to you.
The rapture is coming. Marvelous.
There you go. And I think for Voracious Wizardry part, if he sets you back down on the edge of the superimposed forests after maybe you've had another experience with Tenvine Holder as you travel through the superimposed forests, is just feeling that like brimming excitement of like having done something for the first time in a long time. And kind of asks for like, what's next? What's next?
How big is the Stiffworks? Can we fit? Wait.
Hula hoop
He can make
size,
himself any size. Listen, you should. We already established that it can change size and shape, so definitely it can make itself hula hoop size or smaller.
Well,
especially if there's no one in it.
It's like linear dimension to some degree,
exactly.
But I don't think that it can change its overall mass. So
no, it just needs to go long and thin because a Stiffworks is like infinitely long, like wormhole between points, right? No problem.
And then as it gathers within the go down, it is then larger than the go down overall.
That's someone else's problem. I don't care about that.
It's just larger than the room it shows up in. It's not larger than the whole station, but
it's a Hulk. It can go there.
Yeah, but it will take it like a long time, though, right? Like
it would take it
thousands, millions of years. Of
no, it would take it around a year.
Oh, okay.
A year or so.
Yeah. Oh, right, because it can go like near light speed.
You're at the edge of the Beyond Ring, so it goes
I'm just
near
saying,
the speed of light for a year. It'll get there. Yeah.
we're not talking about like, oh no, I have to leave my favorite hippopotamus because I have to go on a ship. Like,
No, we're not. And on that note, Jesse, so I think that's a great place to end it. We will find out what happens next time. We have these bi-weekly games, and we can continue some of these threads, and there is one more of these longer ventures set up for Sunday, August 17th, with Jesse you'll be running, and whatever the interesting premonition, the omen that Johnny has summoned into the world, we will share at least with these 3 players in the near future. But until then, yeah, if you can join, if you're interested in playing these games, join us, discord.stillfleet.com. Discord.stillfleet.com. And yeah, we really appreciate all our players today. Any final thoughts before we end the stream?
For anyone viewing who might be able to attend Gen Con, I'm going to run a bunch of Grit System games there. In a couple of weeks. Yeah, we're getting excited for the Danse Macabre crowdfunding a little later.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. If you are able to, if you're interested in our games, we have a new game coming out, and we think it's fun, so check it out. And please share with friends. Stillfleet, we're going to relaunch next year with a bunch of new stuff. In the meantime, we're going to keep doing free games all the time, and if you want to play with us on stream or not on stream, just let us know. So thanks so much, Ryan, for running the games at Gen Con. And thanks as usual, everyone in the chat. Vex as ever, Aura Joestar, and I know we had a bunch of other folks on and off. Z Sigmons one, and yeah, oh, and Hans. Hey, Hans. So hopefully we will see a bunch of you around the server. Thanks so much to our fabulous players, Jennifer, Harry, and Johnny. Thanks so much to our fabulous GMs, Ryan and Jesse. And
yourself.
And myself, Behemoth Father. All right, we'll catch you next time on Narm.
All right.
Bye.
thanks everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.